Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Put the fucking fire out!
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Hello! Tilly Guy Del Conklin in the chat tonight. Love to see that kid in there. Good kid. Welcome back to the Gettin Salty.
She's a peach.
Oh, that's a peach, hun. Welcome back to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast. It's the only one that brings you the Firehouse kitchen table from wherever it may be, Ruff. Could be down, close to...
In the islands.
In the islands somewhere,
They could be talking like this, man. I got what you need, girl.
Yeah, man. Yep. Could be down there somewhere in the Caribbean. Could be, who else? Yeah, we had our guys from London, right? You never know where we're going to show up.
Yeah, the UK, right? The UK.
It's still the Firehouse kitchen table. What I gotta say about that.
Mm-hmm.
He just made the mistake of inviting us down there, thinking like, "Oh, I'll invite those guys. They'll never show up."
You don't know about Kubi Coobs, baby.
I just booked my flight already. I fly out tomorrow. I'm going.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you shortly.
Oh man.
Yeah. How's it going down there, Gonzo? Hot?
It's warm, but you get the rainy season. It's been cloudy. You get the afternoon thunderstorms.
How did you do with the rain?
Oh, my area, my city. Thank God we have some good infrastructure, man. We didn't do it, but just about 20 minutes south of me, Fort Lauderdale. A couple areas that flooded last time were right back underwater again, man. So
that rain was rolling heavy.
Yeah. Ha. Took me a second. Dick.
Hair looks good.
Does it look all right? So,
yeah, you look like you got a little something working.
Yeah.
Did you change the angle? We got a different angle now.
I don't know. Oh, you're talking to Gonzo. I thought you were talking to me.
Yeah, no, we got a different angle because I see the respect now, like straight back where it used to be like on an angle to the side or something.
Well, remember I told you I rearranged my office around. I got rid of the bed. I did the floors in here, so I had to. It's still working. It was a bed in here, that we had.
That's where when he got in trouble.
Yes, bed.
His wife sent them down there. To the basement. Is that a basement? Where is that?
You have a basement in Florida?
No, man. Basements. What subcellars? But no.
Oh, no subcellars.
No, we don't. That's very. My house was built in '91, so it's. But as you know, South Florida is very rare. There's some areas that have basements, but not very many.
My wife was telling me it's going to be 90s.
What do you call it going, Ruff? You're on the circuit, right? How's the circuit going?
It don't suck.
Yeah, no.
He's out there whacking balls every day.
Caddies now. I got caddies.
It's got a Happy Gilmore going on right now.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
But it was hot today.
Caddy wasn't Danny, was it? Danny.
Oh, Danny. I want a hamburger and I want cheeseburger and I want French fries and
I like you, Betty.
Nothing I like.
Danny. Yeah. Lose all about.
No.
Oh,
that's what it costs to go to his club.
No.
Did you call for the Billy Baru today?
I did have the Billy Baru. Oh, Billy.
This is a big one, baby.
Oh, this is the worst looking hat I ever saw. Oh, you buy a hat like this, I bet you get a free bowl of soup, huh?
Soup. Oh, forget about it.
Oh, it looks good on you, though.
On you, though.
The facial, right? It just kills me, that thing.
Actually, I got Katrina's hat, the one Katrina gave us.
You do.
Yeah.
So the whole Filipino contingency left today. It's really quiet in the house.
Wow. What is that like?
Yeah, I enjoyed them here, man. Love my father-in-law and his wife. Yeah.
They grew on you.
They did. They grew on me. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. So my wife's all sad and broken up, but what are you gonna do? It's part of life. Let's get to some commercials really quick so we can get Joel on here because the guy had me fascinated in the pre-show, bro. He's like,
yeah. There's one story I definitely want to talk about, man. I can't wait.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any story.
And it ain't about Louis' golf game. I can tell you that much.
If it doesn't make the hairs on your arm stand up, then I don't know.
If I make your hair in my head. Oh, no.
But wait. Well, in your case, yeah, you can get little spikies.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Let's listen to Mr. Vince.
Armor Tough Firehouse flooring was recently installed in station number 7. the newest of the DeKalb County fire stations in Decatur, Georgia. Meeting Deputy Chief Smith of Support Services, Vince explained that armor-tough interlocking flooring is the only floor that is tough enough to withstand the abuse of fire apparatus, along with fire personnel at a very busy station. Chief Smith explained, "The flooring in all of our stations over the years gave us multiple problems. We need a floor that can last as long as the walls and the roof. That's why we chose ArmorTough. The installation team came from New Jersey, and in 3 days, they had completed their work without any disruption to our daily operations. We were very impressed with not only the product, but with the workmanship as well. I highly recommend ArmorTough for your station's floor." Call Vince today for a no-obligation quote at 908-917-7697.
Catchy little
Wonderful.
tune.
Is that the only one we got today?
No, you got Salty Wire again.
Oh,
can't miss those guys. We got to push that.
Oh, those guys are really good.
Yeah, for sure. Hold on.
The FireWire app is the go-to resource for all news and incidents in the fire and emergency services. The mobile app is here and available for download. This long-awaited update addresses a handful of concerns in regard to intermittent crashes, jurisdiction areas, map settings, notifications, and more. This iteration displays our newly designed user interface with the focus on expansion, as we want to cover your neighborhood, city, and county. Our goal is to provide our users with the most accurate and on-time information regarding emergency incidents, news, and knowledge on all things fire and emergency services. Our newest addition, in partnership with the Gettin Salty experience, brings you Salty Wire, where you can view never-before-seen premium content from Lou and Coobs and exclusive segments in various categories. Subscribe today on saltywire.com.
Well, that voice is like velvet.
I was going to say, what is that? Velvet?
Yeah, just real quick, we got a point system coming out. Roof doesn't really know about it. I haven't filled them in on it yet, but you guys are going to earn points when you sign up, when you refer somebody. Every month you're a member, and there'll be free stuff given away. It's free swag from some of our advertisers. We'll be giving stuff away. So more details to come, but free, plus all the segments. You're not going to want to miss it. Mike just finished the second part of the Rescues documentary. Good stuff coming up. Get over there. Get a couple of shekels. But it was $9 a month. You waste more than that on coffee.
Gonzo. Oh, well.
Gonzo spends more than that on hair gel.
Yeah, you might be right there with that shit.
Like extra, like Proby says, like extra credit.
That's right.
Extra credit, yes. All right, Ruffy, do your thing.
You ready?
Guys,
I'm ready.
I didn't forget where he's from. What island is he from again?
He's from
Bohemia or something.
His name is Dexter, aka Dexter. Just so you guys know, all your Eddie Murphy fans out there, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. I still don't know the reference.
Coming to
go. Let's
do
this.
Oh boy, Joel Kanasky. Hello, guys.
What's his name? What's his name? I'm going to change it.
What's the island you're from again, Joel? Where are you at now?
I'm from Bonaire, next to Aruba.
I knew that. Bonaire.
Yeah.
Bonaire with a B.
Bonaire. Good air.
Good air. Look at that. I like it. Have you buffed out in the firehouse yet?
I've been to the firehouse. It's a little career department here, about 9 guys on one station and 3 on the other.
Oh, so there's 2 stations.
Yeah, they do a little work. Right. I watch the A shift and the B shift. The A shift one night, I watched the fire. They forced the door, crawled in, fire over their heads.
Come on.
I'm telling you. Then I watched the B shift.
Run for their life.
The cinder blocks burned down. They weren't going anywhere near that.
That's why there's an A game and a B game. You know, you got your A plays, you got your B plays, right?
Exactly.
You didn't walk in there and say, "Hey, fellas, I don't know if you know I'm from the Crown Jewel Rescue 1. Let me show you how we used to do it up there, fellas." Anything like that?
Amen.
All right, let's do the pledge first, kid.
Oh, right. Do it,
man.
All right, here we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
one quick question: were they on a peaked roof and nobody take any glass?
Not a lot of groups, and the B shift group didn't get close enough to break the glass.
What?
They were in the parking lot and they weren't leaving the rig.
All right. Well, hope the A shift is working when you're home, bro.
Hey, burn it to the ground. I have insurance.
And
3
all right, so I didn't even know you were a Marine, so we'll get to that point. But where you from originally? Tell us a little about the early life.
Originally, I grew up in Suffern, New York. About 30 miles north of the city.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I found out about the fire department was I was a family of 6. I had 5 brothers and 1 sister, and 3 of my brothers were volunteer firemen in the town. And because my father passed away when I was about 1.5 years old, I sort of grew up in the little volunteer firehouse.
Really?
Guys really took care of me and showed me the way, broke my balls, learned about all that kind of stuff. It was pretty cool that way. My brother-in-law, who married my only sister, was another volunteer fireman who I was mesmerized that these guys were the shit. They drop everything in a heartbeat to go fight a fire. So I grew up in Suffern, and it was a small little town. At that point, it was about 8,000 people. It was tiny.
How did you join the volleys with your brothers?
I joined when I turned 18. I was in the volleys at like 14, to tell you the truth, because I was packing hose and washing rigs. But I joined officially when I was 18, because it was the thing to do, and I thought that's what I was going to be, a volunteer fireman for life. And do something else.
Right.
And then another my cousin, who I like to mention, named Gary Baker. He was a Bridgeport, Connecticut fireman, a rescue guy in Bridgeport. He was an Air Force fireman and then became a paid fireman. And he showed me the paid fire department thing. And I was like, ooh, I got to check this shit out.
I need to do this.
You get money to do this? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then because, in high school, I would have probably been a doctor or a lawyer, or maybe like a senator. But I found out in like 11th grade, I found out about girls.
Well, they do it to you. They ruin it.
I found out about girls, and that ruined the shit. I mean, it just destroyed me. So when I graduated high school, it brought me to that next step. Like it was either go find my uncle or maybe go to jail. I don't know. So that's where I found the Marine Corps.
Hoorah.
All right.
And you joined, how old were you when you joined?
I was like 19, a little over. I'd spent a little over a year in the volleys. And I realized that I needed to do something to not
Straighten
chase
out?
girls. Because back then the 18 was the drinking age, right?
Yeah.
So I parked the car on the front lawn a few times. So it was, the Marine Corps was a good thing for me, I think. And
was that your decision? Was your mom leaning into you a little bit?
No, my mom would never lean into me, but I had 2 brothers who were Marines.
Oh, all right.
Both Vietnam vets.
Yeah, nice.
And I joined the Marine Corps, and I found out they had firemen. Hold on, I had a hook.
Oh. He was dying to get that out. Yeah, we'll give him the hook, the hook gesture.
So I knew when I signed up that I was going to be a fireman, and it was pretty cool. I went to Marine Corps basic training, which was grueling. I mean, first time I realized that mom isn't there. A lot of crying and crazy.
I was going to say, were you calling for mommy? Mama.
Oh, I'm telling you, it was a lot of nights I was. Back then, you remember they could touch you.
Right.
And not in a good way.
Wasn't in a good way. It wasn't the way they touch you now. Yeah. So,
hey, Kanasky.
And then somehow somebody in the Marine Corps found out that I had a brother who was a lieutenant colonel.
Oh,
so
shit.
That made it even easier on me. Yeah, it was great. I met the pull-up bar in the sand pit about 10 times a day for that one, but that was okay.
So how far did your brother go?
He was a full bird colonel.
Wow.
My oldest brother was a sergeant. He got injured in Vietnam, and he has passed away since then. But he was injured in Vietnam. He was the hardest charging little guy I had ever imagined. But
I love those little guys, bro.
He was berserk. Like I said, getting the Marine Corps, he had to lay in the car on the way to the medical, so he'd be tall enough because he was like a quarter of an inch too short. But my other brother, the second brother, was a full bird colonel, and both Vietnam vets, both hard chargers.
He make a career out of it. He
made a career in reserves. He's I hate that. Okay, I got to say this. Let me turn my head. He's a lawyer.
Isn't that like that's like an oxymoron or something?
Yeah, but I did have three brothers that were volunteer firemen, and they did, like you said, I watched them and saw how they were crazy about it. And being a little village of Suffern, New York, it was just crazy. I mean, the volunteer fire department was a family. It was berserk. And back then they went to fires. You know, back being young, before I joined, I got to watch a lot of fires. And then when I joined, I got to go to a few fires. But I mean, it was a different time.
Right. Where did they send you when you were a Marine?
I was going to ask.
Well, I went to Paris Island for boot camp, and then I went to Millington, Tennessee for firefighting school. And here's how Marines fight fires. They would fill a pit with like 3,000 gallons of jet fuel, right? A big like pond. They give you a 3/4 inch booster line off the rig, and you had to sweep the fire to get to the plane to put it out. No air pack, just silvers. It was crazy. After Millington, my first stint was I did a little bit of stint in Cherry Point, and then I found out about the presidential unit in Quantico, and I went to Quantico, to the air station in Quantico. And that's where I spent the bulk of my time was Quantico. It was pretty cool.
Did you ever actually have any fires there, or are you just standing by? Like, what do you do?
Well, we did a couple of mutual aids for foam to localities. I had 2 or 3 crashes. I had a 46 that set down in a swamp, didn't really do anything there. I think the coolest thing about Quantico was when President Reagan, you all know that President Reagan rode his horses, right? When he rode his horses, he came to Quantico. So when he landed his helicopter in the middle of nowhere to ride his horses, we'd have to be on standby. So it'd be a little crash truck with us, and the president would get off the aircraft. He'd come over and shake your hand like a big old cowboy.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty quick. I've got to meet, well, Rescue One helped that. I've gotten to meet like, I think 4 or 5 presidents to shake their hand. Pretty crazy. But I got to see a few crashes. It wasn't busy. Like I said, it was busy work. You know, when I was in the Marine Corps, I had a young gunny sergeant. He was old gunny sergeant then. I was young. He took me under his wing. He was a young gunny sergeant. He was a hard charger from South Carolina, Gunny Sergeant Williams. And I thought I was getting raped. He came in like I was there maybe 2 months, and he goes, "Every payday, give me $100 of your $300 check." I was like, okay. And he took that money and he put it away. And at the end of like 7 months, he gave it back to me. He said, "We're going to buy uniforms." And I said, okay. So we bought a complete set of uniforms, because in the military, you pay for uniforms. Guys don't realize that. You pay for all your uniforms.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he had me put away a complete brand new set of uniforms in my locker for what they called a JOB, a junk on a bunk inspection. And I got meritorious promoted 2 times because of that guy. It was crazy. And my shit, when everybody else go to JLB, they were cleaning off their dirty boots and pressing their old shit.
You had a set sitting there.
I locked the lock and opened the 2 doors, and I had a brand new set of everything, never been touched. So he saved my ass in a lot of ways. I mean,
smart man.
He was a hard charging, and I'll say it now, he was a mean ass black dude who kicked ass.
Did you ever keep in touch with him over the years, or no?
I stayed in touch with him a little after. Not over the years. What happened was when I sort of left Virginia, it kind of got crazy, but he saved my ass a couple times. He also was the one that told me to go to EMT school in I think it was like 1982 or 83. I went to EMT school for the first time, which was big. You know, that was like a crazy time. But he told me to do it. It was like a godsend. I mean, it opened my eyes to another whole part of the fire department.
Put you on the path, man.
Yeah. Who would have thought a young boy from Suffern, New York would have met 4 presidents of the United States, bro? Right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
I learned about cockroaches. I never saw a cockroach when I was in New York until I went to the Marine Corps.
You gotta have some Wranglers over there in Bonaire, no, over there.
Oh baby, we got water bugs.
Yeah, man. They got the little tweezers on.
I've seen a couple in Aruba. It looks like you could saddle that shit.
Yeah, you can ride that thing.
Yeah, and then my dogs. It's funny. The dogs know when they're coming because you'll see them like they'll be hunting all of a sudden, and then they squish it.
Nice.
But he also, that same guy convinced me to become a volunteer while I was a Marine. Right off base, there was a little fire department called Dumfries Triangle. It was sort of right next to the base. And he convinced me to join there, and it was pretty cool. Like I said, they had a live-in program, so on my nights that I wasn't being a fireman, because we worked 24s or 48s. So you either work 48 and off 24 or work 24 and off 24. But he convinced me to become a volunteer, and I became a volunteer in the fire department there, and it just opened doors you would not believe. They said I learned things. There was guys there that it was just freaking amazing. And that volunteer department was a combination department. So they had career guys from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. So I got to learn from some great guys. And because I was a Marine and I was off during the day, I got to hang out with the career guys a lot. And there was some, you wouldn't believe it, some of these hardliners. There was captains that were 45 years on the job.
Wow.
I heard him tell one of the new guys, "You do not shave on my time in the bathroom. You take a shower after PT, but you don't shave." I was like, holy shit. That was Norman Stone. And then my first real true opening eyes to the fire department was a rescue there in Dumfries. What happened was the career guys, if they had to take off during the day, would try and get a volunteer to ride for them. So a buddy of mine, Steve Stradaman, who was another Marine, another great jarhead, probably the best paramedic I've ever met, saved a lot of people in front of me. He needed to go to the dentist, I think it was. So I took and rode along for the day with the company, and we got tapped out for a fire. And it was Joe Hamner, another old crusty bitch who drank coffee like you wouldn't believe. He drank coffee like water. He had a cup that he wouldn't allow anybody to wash. It had like crusts on it.
I love it.
The flavor, man. Come on.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy. And then the lieutenant was Bill Neiman, I remember. And we got put out for this fire, and we got there, and there was a lady outside the trailer, and she said, "My nephew's inside. He's trapped." And we crawled in, and Joe Hamner had the line. And what happened was we got in, and Bill Neiman and I made a move to the right, and Joe had the nozzle, and the fire overtook the room. We got into the room where the boy was supposed to be, and I was breaking out a window, and I got hurt. I actually lost use of my hand. But Bill Neiman grabbed the kid, and I helped him. We got the kid. It was the first time I ever actually felt like I was a fireman.
Cool.
It was a true opening eye experience.
Who would have thought that you would have worked with two coffee chugging old stogies in your life, bro?
I'm telling you.
Joe Angelini.
Joe Angelini was by far the coffee man of the life.
Yeah.
We get to FDNY, I can't wait, because I can tell you some Joey stories you wouldn't believe.
Love it.
I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, man.
I
was a coffee junkie too. I used to drink anywhere between 12 and 16 cups in a 24. It was
Did you drink that much?
First, wellness doc, when I was still on the job, I went to this wellness doc, and he goes, "Okay, jot down how you, what you eat and what you drink and blah, 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 blah." And I went in for the interview, and he goes, "I think there's a little typo here. I think the secretary made a mistake. It said like 18 cups of coffee. You meant 8?" Or I was like, "No, it was 18. Yeah, it didn't go well.
Yeah.
Yeah, life's good.
What happened? You ever think about making a career in the Marines, or that never passed your head?
Well, I did, but I wanted to be a fireman bad. I really wanted. I wanted the FDNY, but at the point I was there was nothing going on. So when I was about 6 months from retirement, I started taking tests all over Virginia. And now it was, it was getting close. And actually,
nice one, Matthew.
I moved from Dumfries Triangle to OWL. And the reason I moved is they had a ladder truck.
Oh.
Aha.
So it was pretty cool. I went up there, and there was guys up there again. Same thing. I had guys who were mentors who you would not believe. There was a chief named Ricky Arrington, who he was a politician. He was a chief, but he was a friend. He took care of everything. If you had a down moment, he was there for you. If you were on a job pushing down the hallway, he was the guy with no mask going, "Okay, let's go, brothers. We got to go." Right?
Hold on to my coat, Joel.
Yeah, no. He was behind you, pushing you in the ass. But I was in OWL, and The only good story out of OWL by far was I was in a company called the Black Sheep, of course. And we had a little issue with coffee cups, if you know what I mean, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And we got put on like double secret probation.
You're on double secret probation.
Oh, yeah, it was a volunteer company getting put on double secret probation. So what the guys did was they took a picnic table, and right behind the fire station was a parking lot for a shopping center. And they put up 2 little fences on a piece of dirt that wasn't on the fire department property and put the picnic table there. So we could continue with the coffee cups without being on double secret probation.
Dude, the ingenuity of the brothers to bypass the coffee cups is...
It was amazing. The brothers always come up with a way, right? If
they really do. What, I wish we could share those stories, but we can't.
If the kitchen table would send 10 minutes, they could cure cancer. I swear to God.
Oh, yeah.
There's
a problem we can't solve.
Pranksters know how to. They can solve
my God. There's just too much time sometimes.
It's crazy. Oh, yeah, that's what happens. Right? What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, what could possibly happen here? The captain doesn't work.
I'm getting ready to get out of the Marine Corps, and that's where Alexandria came in. I was getting out of the Marine Corps. I took a bunch of tests. So I got a phone call one day from another department, a career department in Virginia, and they offered me a job. They said, "Can you report, in 2 weeks or whatever?" I said, "Well, I'm still in the military until like the end of April, and this is like January." But I said, my commanding officer said, since it's a fire department job, if you'll write a letter that I'm going to recruit school, he'll let me go while I'm still on active duty.
Wow.
Well, this department said, no, we can't do that. So I was crushed. I mean, I was like, oh, this sucks. Now I'm going to be out of the military, no job, no money. Girls aren't going to like you anymore with no money, no job. Right?
No tiki, no shirty,
Yeah.
No shirty.
So like
tiki, no washi.
It went down like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, nothing. I'm getting closer. I'm getting like within a month. Another fire department, Alexandria Fire Department, calls, and this guy calls and he says, "Look, I want to offer you a job, but it's short notice. We need you here in like a week and a half." So I told him the same thing. I said, "If you can bring a letter to my commanding officer that says I'm going to be in a recruit school or a Proby school, he'll let me join the fire department. I'll only have to come back on weekends and stand duty NCO," which was a godsend when it turns out. This guy goes, "Where do I got to deliver the letter to today?"
Like, yes.
I was like, yes. So he made the deal. My commanding officer let me go. I worked in the fire department Monday to Friday. On Friday night at 8 o'clock, I went on duty NCO in the barracks. So I had to stand watch from 8 on Friday night till usually 8 Sunday or sometimes noon Sunday.
Wow.
What it did for me is it kept me from being an asshole and drinking and chasing women. And I studied.
Huh.
It really made my fire department career take off a little bit. Yeah. This is actually a little later. I was a young lieutenant teaching recruits in Alexandria.
I can't even pick you out, bro. Which one are you?
I'm in the middle.
That's you?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Skinny ass. Louis Santano, who's now, I think, a battalion chief or a captain on the job, and Mike Zeideman, who's retired from the job, living in Florida like everybody else.
Oh, that place.
That was recruit school burn. I did 2 recruit schools there teaching.
How big is that department, Joel?
It was about back then it was 8 engines, 3 trucks, maybe 3 medic units, about 250, 300 people.
That's not a bad size. It's a pretty big size.
No, the coolest part, again, here we go again. Every captain when I got on the job probably had 30 some years on the job. They were all Vietnam era guys who got hired. They were all berserk.
Can't go wrong with that.
It was berserk, and they were all like, there was no nonsense. The only thing I will say about it was some crazy ass rules in Virginia. Crazy.
What?
But coming from the Marine Corps, it was like sort of norm for me, right?
Yeah.
Here's one for you. At 4 o'clock every day, you had to mop the apparatus floor.
Wow.
4 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah. At 5 o'clock, you had to put your dress shirt on with your tie. And then I found out the reason that was because families used to be able to come visit at 5 o'clock. So it was crazy shit. But you know what really happened in Alexandria? You know who bought their first fire rig?
Who?
George Washington. He
Really?
paid for the
Is that right?
Yep. And what he said was, I'm buying this fire truck for you, and you don't change anything until I get back. And his ass never came back.
And nothing ever changed.
Nothing ever changed.
Got water buckets, wood teeth.
Mental plan.
I was assigned to a truck company, I had a captain who was, I would say, Captain America. Again, 40 years on the job. This dude was lit. We had a formal PT policy. You had to do 30, 20, and 10. You had to do 30 minutes of cardio, 20 minutes of weightlifting, and 10 minutes of stretching. And he stuck us to it. Donnie Upchurch.
Every day? Every tour?
Yeah. Every day you worked, you had to do this. And we did it as a group.
I love it.
It was berserk. I mean, Alexandria was crazy. The shirt and tie rule. Here's another one for you. They had a rule. You had to get up before 8 o'clock. You had to be out of your bed. So I maybe had, I don't know, I was probably off probation, but not long after. One morning I wake up, I look at the clock, it's like 8:40. I'm like, holy shit. I jump up out of the rack, act like, make the rack the whole deal. I'm like all nervous. I start coming down the stairs. I'm thinking, oh shit, the next captain's going to yell at me. I'm going to get disciplined. I'm going to get charges. I get downstairs and it's all dark. The whole downstairs is dark. And I'm thinking like, all right, so maybe the clock was wrong, right? So I go in, I'm looking around. There's like two guys snoring on the couch and one guy drinking coffee in the kitchen. This was the B shift. Those guys, they were already in the rack. They didn't care. They didn't even know Joel was upstairs sleeping.
Did they have any fire duty down there, Joel?
We did a little bit. I got assigned to a truck company called Beverly Hills. And the cool part about Beverly Hills was it was in the richest part of the city, the company. But we ran two of the shittiest ghettos because there was only 3 trucks, and every fire got. After they declared it a fire, you got a second truck, so I get to go to almost all those fires. Not a lot of crazy work, but there was work. My senior man at the time, Kenny Soffelder, who's probably watching, I hope he's watching, because if not, I'll kick his ass when I see him. He convinced me to come to 53. It was a great move. The neighborhood was berserk. I mean, it was the richest people in the whole city, and I'm talking like the chef for the White House, lawyers, doctors. And all of them had hot mom wives.
Woo! Yummy.
So where's that picture, big guy? This is the best story of all. And I believe if you don't get involved with the neighborhood you work in, you shouldn't be working as a fireman. I don't care where you are.
Pull it up,
Con. Had to do Ginaloon stuff, right?
Which one do you want? Because I was trying to find the Beverly Hills ladder. Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
This picture here is of a young kid.
A little grainy, but
every day with his hot mom. It's actually 2 kids. They both come by with their hot moms. And we would give them a tour of the truck. We even put them in the rig, drive them around back to where we got fuel, This kid is now a captain in the Alexandria Fire Department where I left.
No shit.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, it was amazing to be involved in the neighborhood. And it was funny because I got promoted in Alexandria to lieutenant in like 92 maybe. I got promoted. And the neighborhood got wind that I was getting moved out of the neighborhood. Now, I didn't say a word. I was getting promoted, and they got wind that I was getting moved out, and they actually went to city council to try and stop me from getting moved. They didn't realize I was promoted. It was all these hot moms we were showing their kids.
I was gonna say it's the hot moms, bro. Joel must have been doing all right for himself. You know what I mean?
But Kenny and I, like I said, those were some of the craziest times. I mean, it was berserk. Who mentioned about breaking windows earlier? Was you, Coobs?
I said, yeah, they're on.
Well, we had a chief who, if windows were getting broke, he used to scream on the radio at you. He just passed away, God rest his soul, Chief Linsky. He used to yell at you for breaking windows. So we always had 2 trucks at a fire. Well, our truck in Alexandria was right next to an Arlington truck. So those guys would come in on the work and fire. Well, we're at a fire, and of course we're upstairs. Well, these Arlington guys would start breaking windows, and he would be screaming on the radio, "Stop breaking the windows!" And they would break more windows because they knew we couldn't do anything to them. They weren't his guys. Yeah, so it was.
Don't break the windows.
Hey,
don't break the windows.
When did you take the fire department test? When you were in Alexandria, obviously. When did that happen? Like, when were you doing that?
I took the New York City test when I was in Alexandria, but it was the test in the Coliseum where the guys died.
Yeah. That was the one I took. Yeah.
The 2 guys died, and then we had the hiring freeze. So what happened was my best friend in the whole world, Andy Fredericks, who you guys know well.
Yeah.
My best friend by far. I grew up on the block from him. He got moved. He got on the job. He was in Alexandria with me. He came down to Alexandria when I became a fireman.
Right.
He became a fireman there because I was there, and then he went back to become a fireman in New York. And then right after that, the hiring freeze stopped for a little bit. So, I was on the job in Alex, and, I was figuring I was going to get stuck in Alexandria the rest of my life. I wasn't unhappy. I mean, I took the promotion test, got promoted to lieutenant.
You were there 9 years, right? That's a long time.
It was. I got promoted like at 7.5 years. It was. I never would have made captain though. You know why? The captain's test, they had to do like an administrative test with like paperwork and shit.
I know that shit.
I was a rescue guy. That wasn't happening.
Yeah.
The lieutenant's test, they talked about fire, so I was okay.
So did you took the next fire department test, FDNY test, and after that one?
No, I took that one.
No, I'm saying, so you were still on the list. You just got hired later. Yeah.
Yeah, so then I got hired in the group. I think my number was on, my list number was only like 2,000 or something. It was nothing high.
Yeah, so I was 1752, and I got hired in May of 93. And that was probably just before you then.
Yep. So I got hired in 94, in April 94.
So you took the test, the next test that I took in 94.
I took that one too, but I didn't do well on that one.
Oh, all right.
But I got hired in 94, so it wasn't a bad thing. Like I said, in 94, I got hired. And I went to what I would call, I went from Catholic school to ghetto school. No matter how you look at it. My first day in the FD, and I came from a department that like had rules and regulations. If you were late 3 times, you were fired.
If you were late, holy shit!
3
There's
times.
nobody left on the job, bro.
3 times. It was berserk. I mean, it was very strict department. I mean, old school.
Well, the FDNY is very similar to that.
Yeah. So here's my first story, FDNY. The first day of Proby school. Now, who remembers Chief Sacamano?
Yeah, of course.
All right. And I'll tell you a little bit about him later. But so my first day in recruit school, I'm sitting in there. I'm thinking like, okay, I'm joining the greatest fire department in the world. This crippled old guy limps out on the fucking stage, dragging the one leg, hobbling, and goes.
He's about 5 foot nothing, and that's me saying that.
He goes, I'm in charge of the Proby school. If you fuck up, you'll be in my office. Don't be in my office. And goes off the stage. And now I'm thinking to myself, what the hell did I get myself into? This is crazy.
Yeah, this is on the level.
Actually, funny enough, Chief Sacamano just passed away in the last couple of years too.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, his son-in-law, Frank Rush from Rescue One. That was his son-in-law who married his daughter.
Shit. We talk about Sacamano a lot. His name comes up a
lot.
Oh,
he was the shit. And then, like I said, Proby school there was amazing. I'm not saying it was on the level, but it was on the level, sort of, maybe. No, not at all.
Nah.
Yeah, I graduated. I hate to say this, and I don't take this. Don't take this the wrong way, especially Kenny. Kenny, don't take this the wrong way, Softfelder. I graduated the valedictorian.
Oh,
but hold on. The number 2 guy, I cannot remember his name.
He's got a hook.
I cannot remember the guy's name. He was a young little Italian kid, and I feel to this day I still hate myself over this. I threw 2 questions on the last quiz because him and I were tied. But somehow those questions weren't wrong. And I knew they were. I'd been a fireman 9 years. I knew the stupid questions were wrong. And when they announced me, I was like, okay, that's the way it's going to be. Hey.
I think his name was Ricky Bobby, because if you're not first, yes.
I live in Aruba.
I got what you need, man.
His dad was on the job, and we had chatted. I was a squad leader because being a Marine, but I really meant for him to be there. But again, it didn't happen.
Right.
So
I got to tell my Sacamano story again, even though I've told it a million times.
Paulie Hashagen's in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Who is it?
Paul Hashagen.
Paul, I love you, brother. He's the reason I probably became an FDNY fireman. You know that?
No.
I watched that story of him with the helicopter crash with Jane.
Yeah.
I thought, this is the shit.
Yep.
Now I know he's
the living legend.
He's an old man who just writes cartoons now.
we went the first show we ever did when we started the shirts, right? He came out with us. He actually stayed in the room with us, right? We went to
cot. We didn't have enough room. We had to sit here to sleep on a cot.
He slept on a cot. The legend slept on a cot in our room, right? And this was the best. Smelled like cigarette smoke. It was horrible. So the best was Coobs said, I'm crashing. So I said to Paul, it was a bar right next door. He's like, you want to get a drink? I said, yeah, let's go get a drink. So we go over there. I thought I was a little something. I've been around a little bit. I seen some fire. Next thing I know, I start talking to Paul. I was like, holy shit, man. I am the worst.
A fireman's ass.
Here's a little pulse.
I wonder if he remembers that.
And FDNY. One night, for like the 10 minutes we were in Iraq at Rescue 1, we're sleeping upstairs. And all of a sudden, there's this big banging going on downstairs through the pole hole. You could hear it, right? So I sit up in bed, and Hashagen goes, "Lay the fuck down. It's the captain doing something he's not supposed to be doing." Of course, it was Hatton.
Yeah. Hey, Roof, you missed the best part of that story. Went away with Paul. We got to see him in his tidy whities. He went to bed into these big Fruit Loops.
Paul,
God, a living legend.
I'll tell you, he started the whole company off with his because Kevin's dad had the engineman drawing in his basement, and I used to love that drawing.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about when we were kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when we started the company, we said, we got to see who drew that. And then of course we saw Hosh, and then we tried to we ended up reaching out to Paul. I think through Hank.
Days at a time.
Oh my God. And he was like so humble about it. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's, and we started selling the shirts with it. Then he drew the chief. They drew the rescue man. Like all the other ones came right after that. You know how he draws. He just keeps going.
Paul, he is a godsend. His cartoon book we had in Rescue 1.
Terry was climbing in the
We don't get fired for it now, but he was the man.
Did you see that, Joel? Pull that back up. Terry climbing in the air ducts.
yeah. Terry calling Joe Angelini on the radio and Joe shaking his head instead of pushing the button.
Joe, did you get that message?
Joe had the hook, and whoever had the irons was the Joey Answer guy.
Oh my God.
Well,
all right, so hold on, let's get back. Yeah, let's get back to the Proby school 17.
Who are you in Proby school with? Any other guys that we know in Proby school?
Let's see. The guy from the Greatest Rescue, the air pararescue guy, he's retired now too.
Okay.
It was in the movie, the pararescue guy who jumped out of the thing in the middle of the sea and got
killed. Yeah.
He was in the class. Frankie Palumbo from 48 Engine. He was another. I won't say this, but he was hooked.
One of those guys.
Again, I was the first in my family to be in the FDNY, so I didn't have any hooks. So at the end of Proby school, you're the valedictorian. They bring you in the office. All right, so it's Sacamano. I don't remember the Italian captain's name. He was another little short guy, looked like Sacamano, but spoke like street Italian, I think. I don't know.
Was McJunkin there? McJunkin had to be there, right?
I don't know what his. You know who's there? The bald-headed Sarakat was still there.
Sarakat. Yeah,
and I think Sarakat was the reason I got valedictorian. I think he changed my answers or something. I don't know. But I went in the office, and there was another captain standing there, this big Irish guy with a brogue, who I couldn't understand the Italian guy. I couldn't understand the Irish guy.
Talk English, man.
And they said, where do you want to go? And I said, I'd like to just go to the Bronx to a truck company, maybe a tower ladder. Because I worked in tiller rigs all my career before that. And this captain from the Irish guy, John Vaughan, from the boxing team goes, lad, I'm in 17 truck. Would you like to come there? And I was like, sounds great to me, brother. I don't know where it is, but I'll go there. Because what do you say? You say, no, I want to go no, send me to 58. No, of course. I knew the game, so I went to 17 truck. And I tell you, it was, again, another enlightening moment.
Well, who did we just have on? We had
Billy
Larson, right?
Billy Larson was, I'm telling you, you talk about guys who could do shit when the shit was on. Billy was the shit.
You just said to me,
17 was crazy.
You said the pre-show that he in a dungaree jacket and jeans.
Dungaree jacket and a helmet. He always had a helmet.
And a helmet, right?
He was safe.
But you know what the best about Joel is when he's talking about somebody else, like he did it with the Marine, with his CO, all those guys. And now you could see it in his face. Like it's in his face how how proud you are to talk about these guys, right?
I'm telling you, the senior guys in 17 truck I had, Pete Lazinskis, you probably know from 117.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Big Pete was fucking phenomenal. Never got excited at a fire. I had Tom McDowell, who's passed away since then, another guy who, 30-some years in the job, never said a word to you, but you knew he was there for you. All these guys. But I went to 17 truck, and like I said, again, one of my first enlightening moments. I came from Alexandria, Virginia, where like if you like told a civilian to move over, please, you'd get written up. We're at an elevator job, and the elevator door is cocked because the car crushed it coming down. So there's about a 4-inch space. The guy inside the project elevator is yelling, "If you fuckers, if I was a fireman, you'd be getting me the fuck out of this elevator." I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't say that, I guess.
Sure.
No, you can say it.
All right. So he's screaming at us. With that, Big Tom reaches in his mitt through the door, grabs the guy by the shirt, pounds him into the door till he's almost unconscious.
Allegedly.
Kind of could happen.
He's dead now, so they can't do anything. So, hey, again, this is like one of my maybe.
Well, it's a bit culture shock for you.
I'm like, then like 2 weeks later, I'm in the house watch with two of the senior engine guys who I know Billy mentioned, Guy Snyder, who was they're both Vietnam vets, and John Rohr. And the gunfire across the street is berserk. I think it might have been John Rohr went out and said, like, open the door, and the guy goes, "We're not shooting at you, we got him."
We got him.
We had a chicken joint next to the firehouse at 17 and 60. Billy didn't say anything about it. We had a chicken joint that never served a piece of chicken. It was a numbers joint. Now it's a liquor store. Even better, right?
Yeah.
Never served any chicken.
It never served a piece of chicken, but they were there. But yeah, it's 16, 17. I would have stayed there my whole career. But what happened was I had the first captain. I had John Vaughn, Senior. His son was a captain too on the job. The captain of the engine was Bert Roby. He's the man who made me be able to live in the Caribbean. I will admit this right now. He brought me in the office like maybe a couple weeks in the job and had me sign the 50% indicator, the 457, and the IHTP. And it made a difference in my life. And
it makes a difference, man. Those nickels add up, baby.
I owe you I live life like, that's why my wife has
like
horses.
You should.
Yeah. But these captains were the greatest. And the next captain I had was called the dentist.
He likes to drill.
He ended up being a staff chief, John Hodgins, Jimmy Hodgins. And he was phenomenal. And what happened was he was trying to get the senior guys. He just wanted to be able to do a drill after dinner, but he didn't want it to be like nonsense. So we got talking one day, and because I was that PowerPoint thing had come out when I was in Virginia, I said, well, I can try and do something. So I was able to go take some pictures of our first new buildings, put them in the presentation, and he would do 5 slides after dinner in the kitchen.
Oh, it's awesome.
And it was berserk. And Tom Van Essen came to the Firehouse for, I don't know what it was for something else. But he did this drill for him. And the commissioner said, I want that drill in every firehouse in New York. And the captain said, well, I didn't do it. You got to talk to this young guy over here. So they put me to work with, here we go, Brian Hickey and Dennis Murphy.
Dennis Murphy.
Murph is the king of the PowerPoint, man.
They sent me with these 2 captains, right? Now, Dennis is retired, so they can't hurt him anymore. But so they sent me with these guys. I showed them what I was doing. We got all the equipment. We got everything set up. They set these drills up. They were going out and doing 1, 2, or 3 companies a day, going to their first do, taking a picture of a couple of buildings, doing a drill with them. Those 2 captains took care of me. And then when Captain Murphy got sent to the squad, another guy got brought in, Danny Bethel, who was killed on the 11th, too, with Brian Hickey. He got sent in, and these guys took care of me for a couple months. And when I finally said, look, I'm not doing anything, I really need to go back to the firehouse, they said, okay, but the commissioner wants to speak to you. And he said, I went to the Von Essen's office, said, what do you want? I said, my goal is to go to a rescue company one day.
Is that how that happened?
Yep. So he said, well, where do you want to go? And I said, well, I don't think it's respectful to go to the Rescue 3. Those guys were the shit. And I mean, they were born out of 17 truck, if you didn't know that. That was their first home. But I said, I guess I'll go to Rescue 1, the crown jewel in the New York City Fire Department.
How much time did you have? A couple of years then?
4.5 years.
4 years.
So I went to my first captain I interviewed with was John Norman. And I'm not sure whether he blew me off or he was sincere about me, but he interviewed me the whole time, and I told him about all my, I was a medic, I was all this, that, blah, 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 blah.
I do not say blah, 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 blah.
John Norman, like, couple of weeks later, got put in the captain's mentor program. Remember the thing where they made him sit in the back seat of the Chiefs car?
Yeah.
With the guy that was a captain the week before or something, you know?
Right.
So we, I thought nothing of it. I went back to 17 truck and I was working. And then Terry Hatton got moved to Rescue 1. And when he got there, there was some turmoil and a couple guys left, a couple senior guys left because he dropped the hammer on him. I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but he put the hammer on him and needed a couple guys. And he went through Norman's folder. And I guess by luck, he found my interview.
Wow. And you got that phone call? Holy shit.
Give me that phone call. How'd that phone call go? Give me that phone call.
Let me tell you what. It was
did you hang up on him and say, yeah, who's this, Bob?
Captain Hatton of Rescue 1. I'd like
it
you
was
to
your
come to
friend?
Rescue 1, but because you're not first grade, I need you to go to Sock Island and Roosevelt Island and see Chief Downey if you want to come here. And I was like, uh-oh. So, I put my Class A's on and I went to Sock Island and I kissed the ring. And I didn't hear anything, It was like, okay, I guess.
Wait. I got to hear how that meeting went too, bro. You
my God.
Tell us over that.
Now, you've been to Sock Island where his office was, right?
Yeah, but first you got to tell me how you had to wipe the sweat off your brow when you went up there.
It wasn't that. I had to wear a Depends. I didn't piss my pants. So,
were the angels out front when you went to go see God?
Oh, it was bad. Of course, it was like 19 light duty guys looking at you like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah. Right.
But I went into the office, and we chatted, and he had known a little bit because of the USAR program. He was very familiar with Fairfax. And the only thing he asked me, he said, why in the hell does Fairfax County have 6 rescue squads for a little tiny county when we deal with 5 in the whole borough in the city of New York? I was like, Chief, I really don't know. Don't know. But it went well. I mean, I didn't think I did bad. I told him my whole story. But I didn't hear anything. Of course, you don't hear anything. It was like nothing. And then one Friday night, I come into work, and the captain calls me in the office and says, Monday morning, you're in Rescue 1. Report.
How'd the guys in 17 feel about that?
Well, what I did is when I did the interview, I called Pete Lazinskis, Tom McDowell, Billy Larson, all the senior guys, Jimmy Gilligan. I called them and just said, I said, look, I had hoped for this my whole life. And I want to do it. If not, I'll stay here. I'm not unhappy here. It's not that I'm doing it unhappy. Tom McDowell basically never talked to me again. Pete Lazinskis was like, I respect you. Jimmy Gilligan was like, you got to go for it. And Billy Larson was like, he already told you. I'd rather have a sister in a whorehouse than a brother in rescue. But again, so like that call came.
I think that's a good way to do it, Joel. The way you just said that.
Yeah.
That's a good way to call the guys. They don't hear about it from somebody else. It's better to come from you.
And
I agree.
I'm not saying that bosses aren't important because I've had some of the greatest bosses you could ever imagine. I really have. I look back. Leichner and Taylor, all these captains I had in Virginia, all senior guys. Senior bosses are okay, but the senior men, no matter what you say, make the job.
That's what
Pete
what's his name said last
Billy
week.
Lawson.
We had him. Bill Lawson said the same thing.
Pete Lazinskis used to hold a drill every single night, at least 2. Whether it was 2 minutes or 10 minutes, he was holding a drill. And he was a senior fireman. These guys, the senior firemen are the shit. But then I get to go to Rescue 1, okay? Again, what is it, Coobs?
The crown jewel of the city?
City Fire Department. You got that now. So I go to Rescue 1. I think it's my second tour. I'm coming in for the night tour. Got my little cake, Right? Walk in the kitchen. As I'm walking by the TV room, I look in the TV room, and there's a guy with another guy in a chokehold, pounding him in the fucking head. Bam, bam, pounding him in the head. He's almost unconscious. The first thing I thought about to myself is, what did I get myself into? This is worse than South Bronx. I'm like, they're killing each other here. What am I in for? I'm the new guy.
I love it.
It was Mike Geidel and Dave Weiss.
I could see Dave Weiss.
Weiss doing that.
I could see Dave Weiss.
He was breaking, not Mike Geidel, Gary Geidel. He was breaking Gary Geidel's balls. Now, Gary Geidel, if you didn't know, was a Marine.
Dude, I could see Geidel doing that.
Geidel was the toughest. There was only one guy tougher than him in Rescue 1. That was Patty O'Keefe. But he had him in the chokehold. So I just walked by.
Did you say Patty O'Keefe?
Patty O'Keefe was one of the toughest dudes ever.
You wouldn't, but just by looking at him, though, you wouldn't say that like he's the toughest guy.
He shot himself with a nail gun on the side job through the kneecap and pulled it out with a hammer because he couldn't get off the scaffold. His knee wouldn't straighten out.
Holy shit.
But again, so after this episode in the TV room, I walk by, I go into the kitchen like, I didn't see that. I know that couldn't happen. I didn't see that. 2 minutes later, here comes Gary walking out. Hey, there's cake on the table. And then like a minute later, you hear coughing. Here comes
Weiss.
Dave Weiss in the room. These guys, I tell you.
Who else was there the first time you walked in, Joel? Like, who are some of the guys that you met?
It was the Geidel. It was Weiss. It was Jerry Nevins, of course. The boss that night was Dennis Mojica, who, if you didn't know, has an illegitimate son who's in 75 engine, Danny Alfonso.
I think he's in the chat.
He was a dispatcher.
Oh,
So he was a little Spanish kid from the neighborhood who took photos, but he was there. And it might have been Mike Montesi, another guy who was lost.
Great guy, man, Mike Montesi.
He was a complainer of hell, but he was a great guy. He complained about it. Steak's too rare. Steak's too done.
Too hot, too cold.
These guys were. I'll tell you. When I got there, I was like, I can't believe I'm here. And in Virginia, I'd become a technical rescue instructor for the whole state. So I got to teach a lot of it, and I got to learn a lot of it, but I never really got to do it. I think in my first 6 months there, I did like 5 or 6 tech jobs.
Yeah. Oh, you were doing it. I was going to say, did you go to the classes first, or you were already working and then you started going to classes after?
Because back then, you only got to go to classes when they came up. So I worked in the firehouse for probably 7 months. Then you got to go to one to the firehouse. They weren't running many classes then.
Right.
The school really just started.
Right.
Yeah, it was in a little shitty trailer in the back of the rock.
Yeah.
Little yellow shitty trailer.
But
did you like the technical stuff? Because obviously they go to a lot more technical stuff than any of the rest.
I love just going on runs, and being in a rescue company, no more fire alarms, no more gas leaks, no more nonsense. The only problem was when you went out the door, you were probably, we worked about 70% of the time. It wasn't, a lot of like Ford drove around a lot because they didn't get the far Rockaways. 70% of the time we were there.
Right.
We worked a lot. It was kind of crazy that way.
Seemed like most of the work was on that west side anyway, so you guys were pretty close, right? Especially in the 90s, 80s, 90s, whatever.
Hell's Kitchen had a lot of work. Where the real work has never stopped, and I still think to today, is the Upper East Side. People don't realize it. The Upper East Side was crazy, and like I said, when we went south, sometimes things got ugly. Right. There was a lot of stupid shit down south that you would never believe was the FDNY, but for guys,
Chinatown's crazy. Chinatown is, you get those buildings down there, it's crazy.
The companies sometimes weren't the best. I got to go to. There you go. That was 3 truck was a truck. I'm not sure if this was right after or not, but Captain Patty Brown, who was lost on the 11th, saved my ass on Waterside Plaza. I'd gotten. Are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
We're here. I just like to show the pictures for a few minutes.
Gotten stuck. We had it was a wind-driven fire. I'd gotten stuck about 5 foot from the doorway of the hallway on the 2.5, and I couldn't move it by myself. I had the can, so I was on the line by myself. I couldn't move the line, but the fire was. I couldn't shut it off because if I shut it off, the fire was burning me. So I was laying on my back trying to put it out, and this guy crawls down the hallway yelling, "Who's this? Move in!" I was like, "If you pick up the hose and help me, I can move in." And it was Patty Brown.
Really?
No mask. Right down behind me.
Shit.
We went in maybe 3 feet and the fire was over. Paul Hashagen had the fire on the floor above. We had 2 or 3 floors of fire at the high rise that day. And it was the same deal up there. It was wind driven. It was crazy. That was Waterside Plaza.
They weren't talking about wind driven back then, were they?
Oh, no. Back then it was a fire.
Yeah.
You had to open the roof so you have no smoke. Now you don't open.
There you go.
Look at
that. Hey, Joe, when you say up east side, what are you talking about? Up in like
13 truck.
Oh, because I worked in 16 truck for a while. They caught some good work up there.
Yeah, 16 truck, same way. I mean, people don't realize there was a lot of good work right up in that little area. And it was consistent. It wasn't like, down south, you had work and usually it was bad.
Waterside Plaza was one of the toughest jobs.
Paul, I agree with you. I got burned on a thigh and I wasn't going to go sick. And then Hatton saw my leg and he made me go sick. I had a blister where I had been laying against like the door frame on my thigh, and Hatton made me go sick. That bastard.
Really?
Get up there. Yeah. He was. He believed in his men.
Yeah, man.
When was the first time you met Hank Mole?
Thank you. He had just left one before I got there. We were like in that change.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Where I really remember Hank he was a safety officer at a construction job.
Yep.
And he was the shit. I mean, he always took care of us. True rescue guy through and through. Never bad about it. Hank was the shit.
He loved Rescue One, man. I gotta say,
I tell you what, it is an amazing place because, like I said, when you think about the history of being the first rescue company in the world, right? Being formed because some asshole bank guy, rich guy, got stuck somewhere and we had to try and save him. You couldn't save him. I got lucky.
Whenever I worked in detail, there was. This sounds corny, but there was something magical about riding in the back, going through Manhattan, like Times Square. It's like holy.
Girls throwing their panties at you. I mean, that's pretty magical. I mean, are you kidding me?
That it was just like,
I tell you,
you can't really describe it.
No, and we got to go to every building people know in the world. Right? I said, I got to stand on the top of the insurance bank building. I'll think of it here in a minute. They had scaffolding doing repair on it. Paul will remember. It was starts with an M. But that building, I got to stand on the tippy top of that building and touch my finger on the spire, standing on a scaffold.
That's cool.
Before September 11th, in that August, we had that elevator crash at the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
I was in the elevator car when the black lady grabbed me and hugged me and told me she loved firemen. Because Dr. Dario had given her morphine because she had 2 compound fractured ankles that didn't have pulses. So he was going to reset them while we were in the elevator.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
so he gave her some morphine.
Gave
her morphine, and I was holding her up on her upper body because he was going to pull her ankles to reset them. And this lady, she was a big girl with gigantic boobs, and she grabbed me and sucked my head into her chest and goes, "I love you, fireman." She was higher than a kite.
Is that what Hatton said? You old motorboating son of a bitch.
Were you motorboating?
It was crazy.
Snap out of it. So some lady showed you your jugs.
It was crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I don't know. Maybe you weren't there for the midnight rape. I don't know.
Now, you guys, I don't think you had a hospital in the first of the squad, right?
No.
No, we had a lot of hospitals. What happens when you have a hospital in your first do?
What?
Cock rings.
Cock rings. I was going to say
that.
Oh,
dude, right.
We did a couple of those.
Yeah, we had a couple.
What the problem was?
We had discussions.
You guys didn't realize when they went to this titanium and ceramic crap that initially there was nothing to cut it initially. The doctor will bring you in and go, "Well, you cut one off like 7 months ago." Yeah, but it wasn't titanium, doc. We could try, but I don't think we're gonna be able to get it on. But
not like looking at that busted, right? Holy mackerel! People don't know what that.
Paul's still out here. Paul, the greatest story ever is the plastic chair.
Plastic chair.
Oh boy, I'm envisioning.
The plastic chairs, the little shitty plastic chairs, right? Like. Oh my God.
Yeah, you're pretty popular tonight, my friend.
You're hitting it tonight. I was going to tell you after the show, bro. We haven't had a show like this in a long time.
All right, so one of these plastic chairs, the ones like $10 at Walmart.
Yeah.
Like little white ones. This little lady had sat down in this plastic chair and it had a crack. She had a nightgown on. Well, when the crack opened, it grabbed something underneath her.
Oh.
And it held it.
It hangs down like wizard's sleeve.
I thank God I did not have the tool.
It's like a punching bag, you know what I'm saying?
I didn't grab the tool that night. Somebody had to climb underneath and cut the chair. Wasn't me though.
You smell something? I smell something.
You? Who was it?
I can't remember who it was. Paul was there.
Yummy. I'll never. He said, "I'll never forget the plastic chair job."
A week later, people don't realize in the city of New York, Rescue One at least once every week or every other week goes to a manhunter.
Oh, I hate
all
it,
the
though.
time.
I hate those stuff, bro.
Here's the best man under ever, though. The only one I ever talk about happily. Because all the other ones suck.
Yeah, they suck, man. They
they
suck.
suck.
My worst run on the job.
Between the shit. Here's one. We get there, you know, and there's like 19,000 police officers, a couple of first two companies. Myself and another fireman from Rescue 1. I won't mention names because I don't like mentioning names. We jumped down on the tracks because we're going to crawl from the head of the car to get to the man under. Well, we're moving down, and he stops for a minute. He's shining a light. He goes, oh, there she is. There she is. We move a little bit further, and he goes, ouch! I was like, what happened? He goes, she's throwing fucking rocks at me. Hit me in the head.
But she's alive, right? That's a good sign.
She was alive, all right. She was a total psychopath. So, needless to say, she got put on the backboard the right way.
Face down.
Oh, man, it was tough. It was a pummel escape because you're underneath that, 2.5 foot space?
Yeah, screw that shit, man.
She's throwing rocks, hammers. She was like going for the gusto.
Wow. Everything's humming.
It was like being underneath an ESU cup.
Yeah.
Electric, right? Everything's humming like really, like it's like
people don't realize
steel that's going to kill you for the next 100 years.
Yeah, people don't realize that sock companies go on with the power still on. And
it was.
Hated them. Hated them, bro. Hated them.
Hunters were crazy. I look back. I think the Green Street collapse was probably another one that brought Tom Donnelly.
Tommy's he's the guy, man. I've been trying to get him on the show for a while.
It was a commercial first floor loft type building. He's the man.
Yeah, he's the man.
He saved me a lot of days. But this fire here, the fire was reported on the second floor, but there was a heavy smoke condition in the store. So the chief sent Tommy into the store with the can man. And I went to the floor above with the line. I followed the first line because they thought the fire was on the second floor. And we were just moving in. There was a fire up there. But what had happened is it burned through the floor from the first floor. And we were maybe, I don't know, I feel a couple minutes into the job. And all of a sudden you felt that woof, woof, where the whole floor lifts up and then drops down. And it throws you to the ground. And then the Mayday started. And that was the one where that whole ceiling, a 20 by 40 ceiling came down on the guys in the first floor. And the only thing that saved Tommy Donnelly was the jewelry cases on the first floor. Those cases in the store. Because it came down and dropped and stopped there. Because it would have had him and John Bardak. But,
I never heard that story.
Oh, my God. And it was one of those ones, it was a suspended ceiling, fully sealed. So when they were putting water on the fire from the floor above, it filled the suspended ceiling with water.
A lot of weight.
It almost killed those two guys.
Tommy's he's into politics, right? I forget what he does.
Yeah,
He's a congressman or something like that.
Tommy was another great. I had the greatest bosses in Rescue 1 you could ever imagine. I started with John Norman for the interview. I went to Terry Hatton as a captain. And you talk about an amazing guy. Unbelievable. Then I went to Freddie LaFamina, right? Another crazy ass guy who was a fireman. He was still a fireman as a captain of a rescue company.
He was. I think he was always a fireman, man.
But a fireman. He was a true fireman.
Yeah.
And then
Count Morris.
after that, I went to the old man.
Yeah.
I had the old man, and it was just berserk. The bosses I had.
It sounds like your whole career you had those guys, man.
Oh my God! I came into the firehouse one day on a day tour, or for the night tour at the day tour. I walk in the front door and there's smoke banked down to 3/4 of the firehouse. And I'm like, holy shit. So I go back to the kitchen and John Kiernan, the Hulk, Lieutenant Rescue 1, is holding a drill. He's got a house made out of cardboard boxes with floors and everything. And he's got fires going on different floors. And he's got the Windex bottle showing how to put out the different floors. Holy shit. Yeah. And then I have another boss I can't name because he may still be working. But he was the king of after breakfast, because we had breakfast in Rescue 1 every morning. After breakfast, he would have pancake frisbee games in the firehouse. Pancake frisbee golf. But he knew how to keep
you could be in a rescue. You could still act like a fireman, though, bro.
You
right?
had to be a fireman, and that's the best part. You still had to have rules, but I know I'm going to piss some people off with this one, but you brought it up. It's your fault.
All right.
I think the reason we're having so many problems in the fire service right now because they don't let firemen and guys and gals be firemen.
Nope.
Want all this to be pristine bullshit because of their PhDs. They don't understand. They've never had to lift somebody's skull up and put it in a bag. They've never had to carry a little baby out. All this, you do this every day. And the only way to get by it is the goofball shit in the firehouse.
It's part of the healing, bro. You have to be able to do this silly shit.
That's why people can't talk, because they don't laugh together. If you don't laugh together, you don't.
Yeah.
Or even breaking balls is a sign of camaraderie. You know what I mean?
No ifs, ands, or buts. No ifs, ands, or buts.
And you're not allowed to do that anymore.
You know what I was just thinking while you were talking about that, Joel? What character were you on Hasha's wall?
E equals MC squared.
That's right. I do remember where that was. I remember that.
Yeah.
Joel's a smart guy.
I'm right there. Hold on. Keep talking.
All right. That's the best wall ever, man. Those they better never take those down.
No,
this is a gangbuster show. 600 people in there.
Hank was the Windex guy because Hank was always cleaning. Oh, there he is. You know what? I remember that. Joel. I remember that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was Paul actually gave that to me as a gift when I left. Let me get the dog from it.
He's getting. Must be chilly over there in
Yeah. 78 every day. Never changes.
Look at that. You have an assistant right there. That's amazing, bro.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like working with Cap Morris?
I tell you what. He was the fire officer. The number one thing in Cap Morris's game was his men. Here's a story for you. I don't know. I'm right there.
I love when he mentions guys' names. You could see he's like getting choked up a little bit. You know, like talking about
Still loves the job, bro. That's fine. Yep.
That's right. Cap Morris is the keyhole. Gets through the lock.
You might be coming to the boat cruise.
I've watched a lot of
his coming with Procaccini to the boat cruise.
Oh, really? That would be awesome. We could work him. We'll one to him.
We'll work on him hard.
That's so funny, man.
608.
Even to come up with that idea, like what Paulie did, to stick
dude,
to draw every person, like every mannerism, whatever they're
how many books does he have? Honestly, how many books does he have on history? He's an artist. Dude, we should play. Do we have the picture of us that he drew for us? The
shit! I think I might have it on the phone. Let me see if I have it.
The Gonzo.
Send it to me.
Paulie drew a picture of the of us as the getting salty.
I have it. I'm going to send it to him.
Now you guys
got it right
know how
now?
this cartoon won't work, right? Well, what
What's
happened is after you got assigned to the company, Paul would stay up late at night when nobody else was up, and he would draw you. He wouldn't tell you anything, and you would come down and see your picture.
It's like Santa Claus.
I mean, how many guys are on that wall, Joel? It's like 3 walls, right? I mean, it's 3 full walls.
You want me on that wall. Need me on that wall.
That call was, I tell you, working with Paul and those guys. But here's a story about Morris you'll like. I forget what part of the city it was in. We were at a fire in it was a factory converted to a parking garage. And
sounds fun.
There's 2 parts to this story. But the fire's on not the top floor, but the floor below the top floor. And there's like maybe 40 cars burning on this fucking thing. And here's the first part of the story. I get to the landing. The captain and the can man, Glenn Bullock, had already crawled in. And they're calling for a line. Well, I get to the landing. There's a Proby by himself with the nozzle. So I said to him, I says, they're calling for the line. I got to take it in. You want to go? He goes, I'll go with you. So we open the door, and you got to crawl on the hoods of these cars, because if you know how they stack them in these parking garages, you can't crawl around them. They're next to each other. The guys get out of the window. So we crawl in. We get to like off the first row of cars, and there's like a sea of fire. I mean, there's like, this kid opens the nozzle. We're getting beat to hell. And I hear Morris go, "It's time to get out." And I've never heard those words from his mouth anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, he said, "It's time to get out." So we crawl out. We get back to the stairwell. But here's the best part of the story. It's like a third alarm now or something. On the radio, you hear, "Car 4, Charlie, to the rescue, chauffeur." And of course, I did the Joe Angelini. I looked at the microphone. I didn't want to push the button. The chief operations is calling me. I was like, what the fuck? So I said, rescue chauffeur. He goes, get your boss and come to the command post. I was like, okay. So I said, Cap, they want us at the command post. He goes, okay. So we go downstairs. We get to the command post. And it might have been Gansey. But he goes, do you know why I called you and not him? I said, no, sir. He goes, if I called him, he wouldn't have fucking answered me.
He ain't lying.
He ain't lying.
He ain't lying.
You got that picture, guys, or no?
Yes, I do. I was waiting for it to interject it.
This is
there it is.
There's Lou. There's me. There's Ash on the line.
Who's in the middle?
I don't know if that's you and then Tank. I don't know.
It looks like Tank. It could be.
Oh.
Coops, what's that little thing you got on your head?
But that looks like a mohawk.
Lots of life.
Does look like
you got a little hunting hat.
I do. I like that. The little camo hat.
Yeah, that's right up your alley.
You should have had you in a tank top.
We got why did you get? Oh, he's got a drink in my hand. What are you trying to say?
That is definitely Hosh's mustache right there too.
Oh, yeah. We should make that into a shirt, bro. That's awesome.
Hosh's mustache.
That's fun.
Joe, what was? How about some of the other guys? How about Al Benjamin? What was he like?
Al B. Well, you know, I my only one complaint in my whole fire service career was I never got to be the senior man.
Because Al was always there.
I had Al, then I had Kevin Croft, then I had Mike Geidel, then I had Kevin Croft.
I was going to
These
mention
three guys, you know, they had nothing. This is a picture from Virginia, actually. This is the senior man I had for a lot of years.
Okay, so you're senior man. So want to make sure
guy on the left,
cut yourself short.
Staffelder. Even though I carried him most of his career by doing his paperwork for him, he was a senior man to learn from. And he's taught a lot of young guys. There's young guys. He's retired now, and there's a lot of young guys to this day that still invite him for lunch and dinner because of that. The guy in the center is he was one of the career lieutenants in Prince William, Bill Yao. Him and I lived together as roommates for a while, but another guy who was just a hard-charging leader. All these guys were leaders. They weren't assholes. You know, they were firemen. And he was a true fireman too. But yeah, this was at a line of duty funeral in Virginia. A young kid got killed in Prince William, got stuck in a bad spot in a house fire and got killed. And it was in my old volunteer company is where he was working that day. I felt like I really needed to go there to be there for that. I didn't know the kid, but it was tough.
Don't matter. Right, yeah.
Tough duty.
Joel, give us some Joe Angelini stories.
Ah!
Wait, look how happy.
Joey Angelini, come on now. He did 20 years in one truck in the day. Then came to one for the next 20. Right?
Yep.
Joey brought, when he had, no matter what position he had, even though in the end he only got one position, he got the hook. Because somebody had to be with him to watch him. And that was the truth. I'm not lying. I'm not telling stories. Joey, you can hate me all you want, but that's the truth. But Joey would carry every single tool that even came possible on the matrix to carry. Okay?
How much did he weigh? How much did he weigh? Was it like
100 pounds?
120 pounds soaking wet, right?
Yeah. But here's my best Joey story. One of the Geidel brothers, I won't mention which one, went upstairs and saran wrapped the toilet. Because they knew Joey every day at a certain time had his bowel movement.
After his fifth coffee and a couple of
his
cigarettes.
15th cup of coffee and his 40th cigarette.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're all in the kitchen. Nobody knew they did this except for these two Geidel brothers. So we're all in the kitchen waiting to see what happens. I wasn't waiting. I was just in the kitchen. Joey comes down in the kitchen, doesn't even change his smirk, goes over, gets another cup of coffee, lights another cigarette, standing at the door, looks around, he's waiting for the first smirk. And the one Geidel brother made the mistake and made the smirk. He threw the coffee cup at his head. Never said another word. Never said another word.
He took it like a man. He took it like a man.
Like a man, bro.
There he is. Look at him.
Look at that.
Fucking Joey. You ever hear how Joey did mutuals?
Mm-mm.
Joey worked straight tours his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
if he needed a tour off for like one of his grandkids or his kids, something special, Joey would come up to you and say, "You're working Friday, I'll work Saturday." Right? And then you guys know that he used to, on his, between the day tours, Joey would get on the train in the morning after the day tour, or after the night tour, after the night tours. He'd get on the train in the morning. He would go to the train station, meet Ann. She would bring a thermos and some sandwiches and a pack of cigarettes. They would have coffee and sandwiches and cigarettes at the train station. He would get back on the train and come back to Rescue 1.
I never heard that story either.
Oh my God! How about the best one here? We go. We had citywide, right? We can go anywhere in Manhattan for lunch. We go to the best deli in Little Italy, right? One guy orders a gabagool and mozzarella. One guy orders a chicken parm.
Gabagool. Over here.
Gabagool. Over here. Joey goes, American cheese with mustard on it.
I knew you were going to say that, something like that. I knew you were going to say that.
I was like, holy shit. American cheese, mustard on white bread.
The man, that sounds like a man after my own heart right there.
And a pack of Camel.
The day we were doing a hydraulic equipment check, like every day in the rescue company, there's a different type of equipment to get checked. Joey was doing the check on a Ram, and the Ram blew up, and it shot 2 guys with hydraulic fluid pretty seriously, high pressure. One guy ended up in the emergency room. Joey ended up with a cigarette and a cup of coffee.
What he smoke? Filtered? What kind of cigarette?
Oh no, Camels.
Oh my God, Camels.
Damn. Lucky strike. Yeah.
Lucky strike.
Here's another one. Here's another good Joey story for you. You guys will love this. So I've been there maybe a year or two, and we're doing a dive drill, right? So Joey, we were all getting in the water because on dive drill days, everybody got to go in the water, not just the number 1 and 2 diver. So Joey goes in the water. He's doing his search patterns, and Hatton takes the headset and goes, "Joey, how much air you have?" And Joey says, 2,100. Going good, Cap. All right, so Joey does a couple more passes, a bunch more passes. Hatton takes the thing and goes, "Joey, how much air you got?" Joey goes, 2,300. The captain goes, "Bring him up."
Bring him up.
Joey, can you see the gauge? And he goes, "I ain't been able to see the gauge in 10 years.
He just forgot what number he was given.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it was.
How were you with the scuba? You like the scuba stuff?
You do scuba?
I was just going to say,
After the 11th, I became one of the scuba instructors for the job. That was an ice drill. Donnelly again. And you see who's in the center there, right?
It's kind of
blurry. That's John Cirillo, the newest
now
member
captain.
of Rescue 1. He's now the captain of Rescue 1. Yeah, it was. We drilled. Rescue 1 drilled 3 times a day. If you did a 24, you did 3 drills. You did a drill in the morning after equipment check, an afternoon drill, and then the dinner drill was usually something in the kitchen. But you always did 3 drills every day. And like you said, Tommy Donnelly always had a good drill for us. The captain always had something crazy. But yeah, so the scuba stuff, we were in the water pretty, they call it rescue diving, but it's really rescue crabbing. Because when people drown, they sink to the bottom. They're not in the middle. They're not floating around.
It's pretty crazy that's like if somebody they used to hear that if they fell, where'd you see them? Right there. That's where they are.
They're there.
And the water's going by like 1,000 miles an hour, right?
Yep.
It's
especially in the East River, but they're right there. One of the helicopter crashes I went to, you have a picture of the helicopter crash I think you had in there. That one there. That was a good one. And actually, Billy Owens, if you're on, I still apologize to this day for throwing you off the seawall into the water. This is one, if you see the captain there, the captain's wet. So what happens when we got there, the pilot was clinging to the rotor head because he was hurt and he couldn't swim. But nobody got in the water. But this was also before the trucks had water gear, to tell you the truth. So the captain jumped off the seawall on his PFD, swam out, got the guy, brought him back. And then I threw Billy in the water to get to the chopper because they said there was still a person in the chopper. So that was one. I got to go to 3 helicopter crashes while I was there. That was Paul's.
That seemed to be a pretty regular thing, right? I mean, it was getting to the point where nobody even was thought about it anymore.
Yeah.
And they always landed in the goddamn river.
Yeah, exactly. Never crashed on land and burned up.
Never. Only the one in Brooklyn. That was the only one.
That was a rooftop.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Did you work for the one with Sully?
No, actually, strangely enough, I was on this island diving. Really? I was on an ice cream store on this island who had a television. It was about an 8-inch television, maybe 8 by 8 on the wall, because it was back before the big cheap ass screen TVs. And I was in there with a very good friend of mine who lost his life. Actually, he passed away. Keith Aducey. Him and I were very good friends from the Volleys. We spent vacations together, our wives. But we were in this ice cream shop, and we were having a coffee, of course, not ice cream. We were having a coffee, and I looked up at the screen, and I saw the picture of Rescue 1 in the airplane in the Hudson. I was like, you son of a bitch. From that run on, though, the guys would ask me, are you going on vacation anytime soon?
Yeah, because always something big's
Something's
happening.
Something's going to happen.
Did you work for W? For Johnny Walters' accident? Were you working for that?
No, I came in. I came in. I got sent to Johnny's hospital that night. That was Kevin driving that night. Yeah, Johnny Walters, yeah, okay. Senior moment.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Big
me
guy
too.
from 44 truck. But yeah, it was a terrible night. Johnny's a stand-up kid. I you know, he had a life ahead of him. You know, he has a great family now. He's got like 45,000 kids or something, I hear.
Yeah.
He needs to get like cable television. So
He's in the chat. He's in the chat.
W. There's W.
Gimp. We call him the Gimp.
We call him a peg leg.
Peg leg.
He's the shit. And I said, he was a good guy.
I didn't want to. Yeah, I'm dying.
That was a good picture.
That was a good one. This is a good one. This is a.
That's you?
This is a subway job. Yeah,
That looks like Tedeschi.
It did look like
Could be.
Tedeschi.
So this is a fire in one. You know, one of those rooms in the tunnels where they used to have like workshops and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
This is a room in the subway, and there was a homeless encampment in it, and we had a fire in it, and because it had all the feeder cables in it, they wanted to use a Purple K unit. For the first time ever, the Purple K unit was going to get used. So when it got there, the chief said, okay, rescue, take the Purple K unit and put the fire out. So Hatton says to me, he says, take this in here and put the fire out. So I went in and shot the Purple K everywhere, you know, it was like brrr, crazy. Well, there was a couple of spots where it was smoldering. So they said, well, all the power's off, so you can do whatever you got to do. So I took a Hashagen and I like whacked on this set of wires, and it was the signal wires for the subway. So it was 36 volts. And I got zapped with 36 volts. And let me tell you what. I didn't pee my pants, but the captain knew something happened.
God, I think we have a picture of that, don't we?
Yeah.
Wait.
Let me tell you what. And needless to say, I said, okay, somebody else needs to come in. I'm out.
Once again, it just reiterates the fact that the subway sucks.
Yeah, no ifs, ands, buts.
Holy
the job that we almost lost Captain Morris at.
Yeah, he ran out.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
No, actually, here we go. John Cirillo, the Captain Rescue 1, was on a detail rescue for Squad 18. We had a guy from Staten Island truck. He was the fifth. You know, we were allowed to have one truck guy. He was there for the day. I don't think that guy ever came back to the firehouse. That was I broke my finger that day dragging. The truck got Morris. We got him in a Stokes, and I had him in a Stokes, and these guys were so hyped up to get him out. My hand got stuck in the front chicken wire of the Stokes,
Yep.
and they broke my finger.
Ow.
And that was a crazy job. And like I said, I had bagged him. When we first got him out of the subway, I was bagging him. And then the paramedic had just retired. He became a rescue medic. He tubed him there. It was a crazy job.
Wow, they did tube him there, huh?
Oh, fucking hell. He was done.
He was done.
Both guys were done.
Did you
And
say
then 5 days later, hold on, 5 days later, after 30 hours in the hyperbaric chamber, he's back at work.
Oh my God.
It was funny because they said that Prasant gave him a list of tests that he had to have done before he could come back to the job, like an echocardiogram, a stress test, a pulmonary function, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Had it done in 5 days and was back to work.
Amazing guy.
What was going on at that job? What was
That
burning?
was the subway had turned an old subway station into a warehouse. And it was about 500 feet from any entrance. And what happened was they couldn't find the fire. So we went down. We were 2 search ropes deep. We had clipped off the 2 search ropes. We had gotten to the fire. And Morris told me, he said, Joel, go back and bring the engine this way. So I started to go back, and I needed a cylinder. So I got back, I got a cylinder, I grabbed the engine, I said, come this way. And that's when we heard the Mayday, because Morris and the can man from
Ran out of air?
Yeah, they ran out of air. They were buddy breathing and couldn't make it all the way back.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Crazy.
I remember they had video of that where they were rushing him out of the subway, right? Everybody runs him into the ambulance and
and then there was after that, it's the chauffeur, it's Cirillo, and the guy from 78 Trucker left because the can man and the captain were both on the way to trauma centers. This 3 or 4 star chief says to me, he says, rescue, you got to get back in there. We're missing a guy from 5 Truck. I was like,
wow.
Holy shit. That was another one of those, go in there and do that rescue stuff. Right? You know, guys don't want to admit it, but it happens more than you would think sometimes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, again, there's great guys. You know, my favorite story about 16, 17 was they had an old-time Irish guy who was, he was in the engine, but he failed his medical because he couldn't see. He was legally blind. So they sent him to drive the chief. His name was Eamon Killian.
Fucking Eamon.
He was the aide. Same thing. He had the brogue, the whole deal. And the dispatcher said, Bobby the Beef, if Bobby the Beef is on him, though, the dispatcher, he said, send me some more companies. And they said, you like the engines or the trucks? And he said, send me the red ones.
Send me the fucking red ones.
Give me a second.
Did you tell Morris, hey, stay away from the light, little buddy?
That's the first thing you do, Joe. That's the first thing.
We're with you, brother. You know, I missed the story for my first time driving a chief up in the 14th Battalion. I just got off probation. And all the chiefs there, again, had, I think, 35 or 40 years. So I'm driving as chief. The second run of the night, first run of the night, I know what it was. Second run of the night's a job. We pull out of the firehouse, we're taking off. I'm driving like an ass, you know. I've been a fireman 9 years. He looks over at me and goes, yo, slow down. We're only bringing pencils and paper, and they really don't need that.
Yeah. Give me some Kevin Croft stories. I need some Croft stories. I've been calling him. I've been trying to get him on the show for a while.
Let me tell you. You talk about guys who can drive a rig. I was a tortoise.
Oh, yeah.
I was a tortoise. Kevin could get that damn thing going 60, 50 miles an hour in Manhattan.
No, I've been on some rigs with him. Yeah.
I almost missed a run a couple times dragging on the back step, you know, because if you had the roof, you had to get the door.
Right.
You know,
He's
if you
leaving.
didn't make the 3 steps and on, you were dragging by your toes.
You know who was that too? I worked at Rescue too. Tommy Donnelly would lead. Your ass would be gone if you were running to the rig to grab that last fucking handhold.
To this day, I thank the FDNY shops for the open web stairs, because I would launch my fingers and grab on the engine web. It would wear my toes and my pro boots out with Kevin. Kevin would go berserko. What are the guys in Rescue One? How about Jason Fazo?
Yeah,
you guys all remember Jason, right?
We just saw him recently. Where do we see him?
He's hiking right now. I don't think he's on because he's hiking the Appalachian Trail right now.
We saw him at a show, I think.
Yeah, we usually see him in Long Island or something. We see
they're hiking the Appalachian Trail. They just left Maine or in Maine or New Hampshire. But here's a good story about Jason, and I hope it's okay to tell because I hope it's settled with his wife by now. You know, Jason had like 6 or 15 kids. I don't know what he had.
Yeah.
But he's getting divorced from his wife. You know, on the back of his car, he had that, the little stick figure thing with the mom and the dad, the 19 kids, the dog, the cat, right?
Oh, no. What'd you do?
No, I didn't do anything. This is in the middle of the divorce. One of the guys from Rescue One and went out and scraped off the wife.
That's what I mean, yeah.
She called her lawyer the following day.
No way.
Poor Jason.
Come on.
Poor Jason. Yeah, Jason
he was a 61 guy, right? He was 61. Yeah, he was good friends with my cousin.
He was the first guy we got after. He was supposed to interview with Hatton on the 11th.
Wow.
He was coming to Rescue One on the 11th to interview. Now, the only reason I survived that day was because I was assigned with another couple of guys to scuba refresher. And Hatton made us go because I was in Hatton's groups. And he wouldn't let us stay. So we ended up scuba school. And when they transmitted the 2nd, 5th alarm, they let us go. And I got to the Trade Center with Brain Sr., Dave Marmon and Thor Johannesson just before the first collapse. And the guy who saved my life truly to this day, I think, is Ray Downey.
How's that?
After the first collapse, we got to the rescue rig trying to get some gear, and he was there right at the corner. I think it's Vesey and West. And he said to us, he told us to get some gear and wait for him right here by the rig. Do not leave. He wanted jacks and airbags or torches or something. I forget. That whole thing was crazy. But we stayed there until the start of the second collapse, and then we wrote it out. And I think it was the American Express building. But if it wasn't any other chief, I tell you, any other chief, God bless him, I would have blown him off. I'd have been in the North Tower. But him, I was afraid. He would have had me in the brush fire unit in Staten Island for the rest of my career.
Yeah.
He was hardcore. But he saved our lives that day. No offense or buts. No offense or buts.
Wow, I never heard that story either.
I'll tell you what, that's in between the first and second collapse.
Somebody just
I'll tell
said
you what,
that,
that's right? That is in my face right there. I didn't see this picture for about 10 years, and somebody actually sent it to me. That is 110% total fear. I've been afraid a couple times in the job, but this was total fear, total loss. No thought. Yeah, crazy.
Did you know who was working that day in Rescue 1?
I knew that Kenny Marino was. I knew Gary Geidel had picked up overtime because of the scuba class.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Terry would be there. I knew Dennis was working the night before because I was coming in to work with Terry, but I had to go to scuba class. So since Terry was working, it would either be Joey and me. It'd be Billy, Dave Weiss. Those were the regulars in our group. And Mike Montesi a lot of times was in the captain's groups.
I was pretty close with Kenny Marino. I was in 117 with him.
Kenny.
He loved the job, man. He fucking loved the job. He really, and Sweeney too.
Brian. And they said that these were all guys that didn't even have a chance to really enjoy the company. Kenny was there a couple months. Brian was a couple weeks.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah, because he actually got killed in squad 288.
He
owed a guy a tour.
Detailed. Yeah.
He owed a guy a tour. Right.
Owed a guy a tour, so he worked the tour. He was paying it back. Now, if I had been that guy, I would have said, screw you. I'm not going back to Queens ever. Yeah. So I told you the Patty O'Keefe story with the nail. Patty was, you talk about a tough son of a bitch.
I remember him. He didn't talk. He didn't seem like he talked. He didn't say much, right?
He was a 35 truck guy. Him and Lloyd Infanzon was from 30. Lloyd Infanzon was totally, truly a certifiable rescue guy.
I've seen that picture. Where is that picture from?
Is
that like on the internet?
It's Frankie, Billy, Lloyd, and myself. I'm not sure where it was. It might have been. No, it wasn't the secret building. It was.
I definitely have seen that. Maybe is that in the Firehouse?
That's what it could be. It might be in the Firehouse. The wood.
Yeah.
Lloyd was by far. He was another Billy Larson.
No,
if it had to get done, he was going to do it. Whether he had a can, a garden hose, a nozzle, he was going to do it.
Where did he come from?
35 truck. Him and Patty O'Keefe, both 35 truck guys.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, just crazy guys. Yeah, I guess my wife used to always say that everybody in the fire department's missing the same chromosome.
Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah.
Who was we had Dennis Smith on right before he passed, and he says, "Did you watch that show?"
Yeah.
He says to us, he goes, it chokes me up thinking about it right now. My hair stands up. I could do anything because I'm FDNY trained. Yeah. I can get any job done because I am FDNY trained, right? When he said that, we were just like, me and Coobs were like this. It's like, because that's how you feel. There ain't nothing I can't figure out or do or somehow get it done.
Later in my career, though, I figured out that guys say that there's a great fireman or he was a great fireman or a good fireman. I don't believe it at all. It was a great team. When you surround yourself with senior men and bosses and even junior guys who want to do the job, you can do anything because no matter how bad it gets, they're coming in for you. We had a job in China, Al B. You talked about Al B. We had a job in Chinatown in a shoe store. The fire's in the basement. So you know what the basement looked like, right? 4,000 boxes of Taiwanese shoes stacked up to the ceiling. And
Is that the one they used Hi-X foam on?
No, we didn't get that bad.
Because I went to one of those.
Oh yeah, they were always great, right? That was the end of it was like a church fire in the FDNY. The other one I always hated in the FDNY was when they said start a foam line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was going to shit.
Wrap it up.
But so this shoe store, Al and I, he had the can. I was the chauffeur. So we crawled down with the first line. We get down there. There's nobody on the line. And the fire's about 50 or 60 feet back in the store. So Al and I are trying to work the line down in there. We brought search ropes. It was that bad. Well, a young boss, I don't want to say he was a squad guy because then you guys say I'm picking on you. There was a young boss who came down behind us. And we were making a little progress, but we weren't making a lot of progress. And all of a sudden, I felt like something fall on me. And I was like, what the fuck was that? And Al goes, hey, hey, hey. He's yelling. And it's this boss. This boss collapsed. He's down for the count.
Was he cheating? Or?
I think he might have been. Allegedly, he might have
possibly
carrying air. But he drops like a sack of potatoes. So Al's grabbing him, and I'm grabbing him, but I had the nozzle. So I'm reaching around, and there's a guy behind us. I don't know who it was. So I grabbed my leg. And I said, "Who is this?" And he goes, "It's Chief such and such from the 2nd Battalion." And it was he ended up as the chief of safety. I'll think of his name in a minute here, maybe. Chief Reynes. And I go, "Well, Chief, guess what? You got the nozzle. Take the nozzle." So we get this lieutenant out of the basement, and about a week later, Chief Reynes comes by the rescue company. He goes, I think he said he was on the job 30-some years, and he says it's been like 25 years since somebody handed me the nozzle.
Wow,
that's pretty funny. Did you get anything for that?
Nope, never said a word because you don't want to embarrass a boss.
Yeah, I got you.
Never.
Wow.
Yep.
So what was it like rebuilding Rescue 1 after the 11th?
It was it hurt us two ways because, we lost the 11 guys, which was half the company because we only had 20-some. But then what really hurt was the fact that 4 or 5 other guys were on the lieutenant's list when they promoted like that 100 guys.
Yep.
So we lost 4 or 5 other guys.
Wow.
We were down at one point. We were down on the ABC schedule. We were doing the ABC, right? We didn't have enough guys for C, so we were getting a detail in for C every night when C was working. And then when we were doing D, we were at the pile because that was your D shift night. So you're doing ABC in the firehouse, and then you're doing D at the pile. But we didn't have enough guys for. I think we needed 15. We had 14 guys left. And then they brought down Jason Fazzo, Cosmo Diorio, Mike Shunk, the guy from.
He was the other guy with the. Yeah.
And the guy from 34 Truck, another great fireman. He got hurt in an explosion. Got put off the job. But it was, building back the company. We were lucky because we still had Mike Penna,
right?
Who was another boss who was 2nd or 3rd generation in the fire department.
Yeah, we had him on the show too. He's a fucking great guy, man.
True fire. We had all these Rescue 2 guys, so they came with all these good fire stories.
I've never seen any fires, right?
Yeah, we came with all these fire stories.
All 3 story jobs.
Mike Penna really got stuck with because John Kiernan had gotten hurt at a Collier's mansion, had torn his shoulder, so he was on medical leave. So it was really Mike Penna rebuilt the company. And we had a couple of tryouts in between Freddie LaFamina and that Mike Penna took care of, guys that really shouldn't have been there. They got assigned for like a day and a half. Between Paul Hashagen and Mike Penna, they took care of it.
No.
The guy came in and claimed he was going to be the Captain Rescue 1. The next day he was like somewhere else. Yeah, it was good.
So who was after Freddie then? Was it
Captain, the old man?
It was.
Yeah.
How long after 9/11 before the questionable behavior happened in the bunk room with the?
There we go.
Dude, you know what? I forgot about. I kept thinking I want to bring that up. I don't know if Louis was here when we were talking
No,
about.
I don't think he wasn't here. So it'll be
Oh,
good.
Louis, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Anybody that knows me knows I am not I don't tell stories. If I'm going to tell you, it's going to be the shit that happened. But after the 11th, I don't know. It's all a blur, but it was probably, a year or two. In the middle of the night, I would get woken up by somebody who would ride a bicycle to the side of my bunk and yell my name. And I just thought it was, my PTSD crap kicking in. I had no idea. And I never said a word to anybody. Never said a word to a soul. A couple years later, I'm in the kitchen one morning, being, the senior chauffeur guy, drinking my coffee, reading the newspaper. And one of the new guys comes down from the bunk room and he goes, "Hey, somebody was in the bunk room last night riding a bicycle, yelling."
Come on. Fucking hair standing up.
Dude,
right there, man.
Now, if I didn't know this guy, and I'll say his name because Timmy Sullivan is one hardcore fucking Marine. He was an Iraqi Marine.
I know him. I know him very well. He
did some hardcore tours. He had some true hardcore combat PTSD. He used to jump up in the middle of the bed at night screaming, "Fire on the left, fire on the left. They're coming in the wire, fire on the left." And I would yell at him, "Timmy, go back to sleep."
No shit, really?
Yeah, Timmy, hardcore. But Timmy's the one that came down and told me about the guy riding the bike. Now, I go back to the Firehouse 2 or 3 times a year to make him cook me dinner. That's what I go for. But I went back a couple years back, and the guy goes to me, "I don't sleep in the bunk room." I said, "Why not?" He goes, "Some guy comes to my bed and yells at me, and I smell cigarette smoke."
Come on.
Dude.
And I says, "It's Joey Angelini." Because I had Joey once or twice, but it was when I was downstairs, not upstairs. And I told him, I says, "What you got to do the next time you go to bed in the bunk room is take a cup of coffee up and put it on the floor next to you, and Joey will never bother you again." Now, I don't know whether it worked or not, but yeah, those two were definite. The elevator used to open all the time. The front door would open and close. There was all kinds of crazy shit. But yeah, I know for sure Buddy Love.
I mean, there ain't no way that.
Now, who do you think was riding the bike?
Huh?
You said before, who was riding the bike?
Billy Henry. He rode bikes all over the world. He did bike races all over the world. But he would yell at me. The difference is he'd yell at me, "I want some leg of lamb." Whenever I cooked the meal, Billy wanted leg of lamb.
What was he like? He seemed quiet. Was he a quiet guy? He was quiet, right?
He was probably the cleanest fireman I ever met.
No shit.
When he cleaned the head, stand by. It was ammonia, bleach, hot water, ammonia, bleach, hot water, ammonia, bleach. When we had chicken for dinner, he scrubbed the chicken like 9 times before we could cook it. But Billy was...
where was he from? Do you remember where he was from?
11 truck or 28 truck, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, Buddy Love, another guy.
I remember him. I don't know if he, again, I only worked there a few times in Rescue 1, but I think some of those guys would come to the hazmat. We would see them most of the time, but I do remember he was a very quiet guy, but legit. Super. Yeah.
I worked a night tour there once, and they had I think we were riding heavy, so we had 2 roofmen, and he was the other roofman.
Riding heavy, huh?
He took the time to just talk to me and drill with me every run that we went on, bro. Just a gentleman.
Buddy Love. Yeah, these guys were, I'm telling you, crazy.
Paul Hosh said 24 truck. Paulie Hosh said 24 truck.
Oh, 24. That's right. I'm sorry, Paulie.
I wonder if there's any other stories about that, like guys.
I don't know, but yeah.
Listen, I have my own from my
Danny Alfonso said there are a lot of other stories about it. Danny would know.
Man.
Danny Alfonso, before he became a dispatcher or a fireman, spent more tours in Rescue 1 than I did with Dennis Mojica. That was his illegitimate son. And then he became a Manhattan dispatcher, and now he's in 75 engine. Been there a long time. He's probably got, 15, 20 years, I think.
John, you said you had to go somewhere down there, but
yeah, man, it was a very similar story. A couple of nights doing reports and whatnot. In the middle of the night, we used to have a door that would go dum dum, and you turn around. I mean, little, it's like my office is right here. You turn around and wait for the guy to come around the corner, and nobody shows up. That's happened to me several times. We show up to the firehouse. The bay door was up. Doors were open, and there's not a soul in the firehouse.
Did you ever figure out maybe who it could be? Like, was there somebody in that room, in the building?
The station was named after Cagle, which was the first fire chief that we had. So pictures would pop off the wall. You'd just be hanging out there, and then boop, the picture would freaking fall off the wall.
How's my boy Matt Beatty, Joel?
Matt, yeah,
Mr. Happy.
Yeah, Mr. Happy. Yeah, we had a lot of really. I mean, there's a period there where we had a lot of guys come through because they were on the promotional list. Matt Beatty, Grasso, Chief Grasso's son. A lot of guys that came through for a short period of time that were all spectacular firemen. And if it wasn't for being, even before that, the Ghost Engine 2, you're right, Paulie. Even before that, I mean, these guys would have been career rescue firemen if they hadn't already taken the test, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Freddie Hill,
Right.
all these.
Yeah, Freddie Hill, right? Matt Beat, he was in 103 with me. He's great, good fireman.
103.
Oh, wait. Here's a good story for you.
We looked him up to see if I've ever heard of him.
The old man and I are at the shops for a meeting about the new rig, right? So he took a chauffeur and him. We went to the shops for the meeting, designing the new rigs. And we're in there, and it's Anthony Castellano. Remember the mechanic with all the tattoos?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's in the meeting. I forget the other guy's name. He was a not so happy guy. We're in the meeting, and they're going around the table. Anything else you'd like to see added? I said, I saw this thing in California. If you could add to the rig, it would really help, I think. And he said, what's that? I said, I saw this thing where they push a button and these curtains drop down on the windshield and the windows. They're aluminum, and they protect you. And, of course, they look at me like, what? And I said, well, when we go across the Brooklyn Bridge, I've heard these stories about these fires over in Brooklyn. I need these curtains because I get scared. We get halfway across that bridge, and I am so afraid. It ain't funny.
Very scary.
Very scary.
I had another question. I forget what the hell I was just going to ask you.
Well, while you're thinking about it, our boy Frank Sufton sent this on over. He wanted to share it with us.
Holy shit.
Is that you on the right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this story here is Paul Hashagen and Bruce Newberry, both former Rescue 1 members, had started a little training company I think it was in 2000. And they had set up this whole gigantic training class in Clearwater, Florida. It was supposed to happen, I think it was like in March or April of 2002. Well, when September 11th happened, we weren't sure if anybody was going to go. And then Paulie talked to everybody and said, look, we need to do this. We need to step up and do this. I know it's hard. We're still digging on the pile, but we need to go to Clearwater for a couple of days and do this class. And it was amazing. It really was it was a good lift to the soul. Between that and the brothers that came from other places to go to funerals.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for them, some of these funerals would have had 5, 6, 10 guys.
Yeah, no doubt.
And they saved the day. Every time I go to a class anywhere, the last thing I always end up with is I thank the brothers who came from out of town to step up for our guys. Because they would have been 5,000 guys. The chief of department had like 300 guys, I think.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy.
How about, as you were talking, I was thinking of another Rescue 1 fella that I was very close with. How about fucking Sean Cummins? fucking Shawnee.
Oh. Here's the only guy I know.
He was happy all the time.
He was in the country for 35 years and still had a full Irish brother.
Learn the fucking language, will you, bro?
This is why when I got moved as a chauffeur, I hated it because here's my best story in the back of the rig. It's Jason Fazzo had the roof, so he's the first one in, right? It was, I think it might have been Mike Shunk. No, it was Cosmo DiOrio. And it was Sean Cummins and me. I had the can. So we're going down the road, and Cummins is left two of them, right and left. And all of a sudden, Sean starts screaming, give me the oxygen, give me the oxygen. I was like, what's up, Sean? He goes, the two big guinea noses are sucking up all the air, and I can't breathe in the back of the rig.
He was a funny bastard, man. He was funny.
Man.
Here's another one. Now, after the 11th, you know how they brought shit to the firehouse, right? So everybody in the world brought shit to the firehouse. Yeah. I had cholesterol. My cholesterol at one point was 900.
Holy shit.
But I also ate 9,000 chocolate chip cookies from every kid that brought a chocolate chip cookie to the firehouse. But what happened was
you have any stents?
Had just come out. Red Bull had just come out.
You have any stents?
Nope, I'm good.
Nope, I'm good.
Wait, this guy right here. No.
The AC is 85. So they Red Bull had just come out. So the Red Bull had dropped off like a tractor trailer of Red Bull. Right? So we had this shit in the kitchen. Nobody knew what it was. It was brand new. And then these guys from Belgium brought in this chocolate bunny. This chocolate bunny was about 5.5 foot tall, solid. And they came in with their helmets. You know how it is. Helmets and their shirts and parade and brought it to the kitchen. And they were giving us this chocolate bunny. So the chocolate bunny sat on the table for a couple of weeks. So one night after a run, about 3 a.m, I think it was Morris and myself. We go in the back. Cummins has got one of the biggest knives out of the kitchen. He's drinking Red Bulls and chopping pieces of chocolate off his bunny. He can't sit in the chair. He's bouncing, running around, whacking pieces of the bunny off, gnawing on it, and drinking Red Bulls.
Wow.
He was cracked up.
Man, no shit.
Sean Cummins. I think Sean, is a Civil War history buff.
Yes.
He bought a house in Gettysburg just so he could be at the battlefield. He now does official government tours there a couple times a month, but he lives in Florida now. Another guy moved to Florida.
Yeah.
Florida guy.
So the next hurricane.
Come on, you want to be hardcore? You move to the islands, bro. The Caribbean islands,
Exactly.
right, bro?
No hurricanes here, brother. Too far south.
Ah.
He knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sean was the best by far. If he got on you, you were done for the night.
Yeah, no, I remember him working in the squad a few times too. Like he was relentless, right? He seemed a little angry too occasionally.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. How about you remember in the back of quarters our door?
Yep.
We had that. It was really up high. There was a shelf of granite from the old door. Sean took a McDonald's cheeseburger, unwrapped it, and left it up on there. It was there for like 6 or 7 years. It never changed. We used to use it for the search camera drill. When the new guys got to do the search camera, we also put a quarter up there, a couple other things, but they would have to go around the room and find items. And they go, "That's a cheeseburger. When did that get there?" And then you tell them. They're like, "Oh!"
They actually have videos of that with the McDonald's burgers. Like they sit around outside. They never deteriorate.
Never deteriorate.
Stuff, man. Is he the little guy from Squad 1, Sean Cummins?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fucking Shawnee. Oh, he's a funny
Dior,
bastard.
Cosmo Dior's wife, a good Staten Island Italian girl, came in.
Shawnee Cummins.
Yeah. Came in once, I think it was like maybe during Halloween or something. And Sean was giving her hell, and she goes, "Shut up, you little leprechaun. This isn't your holiday."
He did have a strong brogue, right?
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, I think it might be that time, Roof.
I was going to say, who else did we miss? We covered a lot of guys.
Oh,
we
God,
covered a lot.
show.
Is there anybody else that you wanted to mention? Check your list.
Let me check my list of guys here. So
check your list, booking twice.
Check it. I have this one. Did you go over these guys here? Just refresh your memory.
Mike Shunk.
That's the captain there.
Eddie Smolinski, Brian Burek, another squad guy, right?
Oh, Brian Burek, right?
Red Bullock.
That's Scott's brother.
Thor.
The Bureks are good-looking fellas.
Yeah.
Thor, Chief Thor, now Chief of Sock.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
You got that guy too, closing his eyes over here.
Oh, we talked about that, McBratney.
No, McBratney. Okay.
Yeah, you want to talk about a hooked up guy?
He was a good dude. Funny guy, man.
I can't say it on air, but he pulled off the event of all events.
We won't talk about it, but
yeah, he was the shit. But again, I'm not the guys in the limousine and the machine guns will be coming to get me if I tell the story. No, in my FEMA time, I went on like 17 deployments with the USAR task force. I ended up becoming a log section chief for Red IST for the whole country. I got to work for some of the greatest guys in the country who had nothing but praise for the FDNY. And little did they know that most of the guys working only knew we rode on red fire trucks. They didn't know who made them or anything.
Huh.
Yeah, I say that all the time, Joel. The guys are like, "Hey, check out this video." They send me a picture. I'm like, "Bro, all I did was get on the rig. I have no idea about any who made it, the chassis."
Yeah.
My best buddy who was my counterpart was Wayne Black. We went to a lot of deployments together, solved a lot of problems. Joe Downey, who I think is still in SOC right now.
Yep. He is, yeah.
He believed in me and made us a log chief in the task force, and then moved me up to the IST. All my
logistics in anything is tough, man. That's tough. The logistics part, that's the worst part, man.
It was endless.
The gear in the rear, baby.
I spent a lot of money on deployments as I became the IST chief, but we had a good time. And like I said, those guys, they were all great guys. The guys I started with in Alexandria, John Vollmer, Donnie Upchurch. Here's the story for you. We ran a class before I left Alexandria. We ran a class, a smoke divers class, like an advanced SCBA rescue class. And it was all the hard charges in the department trying to prove themselves because we had a rescue engine at the time. They had just formed, maybe a year before. And a lot of guys were trying to like step up so they could be in the rescue engine. We had this young kid, so we were doing burn scenarios. And somebody put a dummy in the room, and we were using real furniture in the burn building. Well, that room, all the furniture was off. Couches, chairs, everything. This kid still crawled in to get the dummy. He ends up getting burned. And I said, what were you thinking? He goes, you told me to go rescue the people. Now he's like the third in command of the fire department there, Dan McMaster. Hardcore dude.
Hardcore, bro.
We also went to the emergency room with him and took pictures. And back then it was cameras, not film. It was film. Went back and took pictures, to make sure everybody knew it.
Oh, yeah.
Hardcore.
I can't say enough. Like I said, it's just amazing. Senior guys.
Mike Chaffee.
Oh, Mike Chaffee. The blockhead Italian guy. He's the only guy that the old man I ever saw throw out dinner on. Chaffee made eggplant parmesan. It was horrendous. The old man took a bite, stood up, scraped it in the trash, laid his money on the table, went to bed.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike Chaffee.
Dennis Murphy did that on the regular when Hazmat cooked. Just got up, would wait. He would actually move the stuff around with his fork on the plate, and then he'd get up and just scrape it into the garbage. And
We used to get stuck being the 6th and 7th man all the time in Hazmat.
Oof.
Yeah, you guys were always 6 and 7.
My favorite was if there was one, either Marine one or Hazmat, I was going to the boat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They had a pet seagull at the kitchen. You open the door and you feed them whole chicken bones. You come eat them.
They would do something like shake and bake, or they would do some weird stuff over there. Yeah, it was horrible.
Shake and bake. They made tofu lasagna one night.
Dennis Scalzo?
Yeah.
Dennis Scalzo, yeah.
Oh, he was a home run. He used to come to rescue one all the time. Paul.
Smart guy. Smart guy.
Lieutenant.
Paulie Rogers?
Paulie Rogers. God, another
great dude.
Knowledge. I had a wife at work. She was a nurse, so I didn't need a second job. I didn't bang nails or anything. So my second job was I worked for the Office of Emergency Management in Rockland, in Hazmat, and those guys made my career. When I would call them up. I hate to tell them that I had better shit than they did because I had better spending than they did. And I didn't have to go through 45 people like they did.
Yeah.
E equals MC squared. There you go.
There you go.
Life is good. But yeah, thank you.
Good stuff, Joel, man.
We're not done yet. Wait a minute.
No, wait a minute.
Something else.
It's time for
Gonzo.
What is it time for?
You know what it is. It's time for.
It's time for. Wait, there it is. The old
tip of the day.
All right.
Take it away, Joel.
Well, let me tell you, this is different than a lot of the ones I've heard because I watch the show often. The only problem is you guys have the show from 8 to 9 or 10, and I'm usually in bed now, but that's okay. So my tip's a little bit different. I already said that if you're going to be a good or a great fireman, it's really because of the bosses and the senior men you surround yourself with or the junior men you surround yourself with. But the most important thing every individual can do is practice those self skills. You don't got to stretch a line. You ain't got to throw a ladder. Those self skills are going to make or break you. Getting your mask on, getting your gloves on, knowing where the Hashagen is in your hands, self skills, knowing where your stuff in your pockets is. Those are the skills you want to know. Knowing that when you're working on one of the brothers, bringing them out, and you're down and the bell's going off, how much more air you know by the way you breathe and what it feels like when you breathe. You'll know when you're almost out of air. You know when you have 10 more breaths if you practice it. The only other thing I say is, guys, after September 11th, I learned something that Terry Hatton and Dave Marmon and all these great guys and Paul Hashagen get together after the tour and hang out for a minute and get together with the wives and the girlfriends and do events, not just a company dance, go to dinner. If 2 guys show up, 2 guys show up. If 10 guys show up, 10 guys show up. Do it and take pictures because you're really going to miss and want to look at those pictures one day if something bad happens again. I stare at pictures every day thinking of my brothers. And they said, do something with the families and the girlfriends and the wives and the husbands after duty. And Terry Hatton used to every day, we worked straight tours. After the second day tour, we'd go to the corner, hang out. Didn't have to be fire stories, could be home stories. But go do it because it's going to make you a better firefighter in the end. Amen.
Amen.
Great tip, man.
Excellent.
Joel, great show, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you guys.
You just
Good
broke
to see you,
We haven't
brother.
had this many people in a long time, brother.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. What's a good
Lots
time?
of friends out there.
What's a good time to book my tickets? I'm just
Anytime.
wondering.
The weather never changes. 78 to 88 every day.
Woo!
It starts out at JFK in November. Like
How long's the flight down there, brother?
4 hours.
Oh my home run, roof. I think we
Yeah.
should do a Getting Salty show from his house, bro.
There you go. Come on. I got 2 guest suites. You're in.
Oh, we can sleep in the same bed. We've done it before. Don't worry about it.
The squad thing.
All right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
So Thursday, we got a 103 guy coming on.
Yeah, Charlie
Gagliano.
What year, bro? Give me the years.
Late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, we see no fly that guy, bro. You know what we're gonna hear, Guns?
What? Oh wait, are we gonna hear?
Oh, 103, 103.
I'm still trying to figure out where that company is.
Oh, Posa.
Oh, well.
All right, fellas. So we got no commercials, right? We're good to go. Excellent.
Oh, you know what? Forgive me. Didn't we have it? Wasn't there a line of duty death recently?
Oh. There's 3 we should talk about.
What?
The Father's Day.
The Father's Day fire. We were all working. The next one is Pete Lund. I know that Pete, when he came to Rescue 1, again, he was a covering boss for a night, and he would do 2 or 3 drills. He was the man. And then last, LA County just lost a guy at a stupid freaking tractor fire.
Tractor?
A big bulldozer in a quarry or something. I think it looks like the tire blew off or something, killed him. But again, and then Father's Day in the fire service has been bad all around. You know, the Verdome collapse in Boston, same time of the year. All this crazy shit. Between this and Christmas, it's always bad, brothers. But those 3 guys, the guy from LA County, 19 years on the job. Pete Lund, 400 years.
Yeah, I can't find it. But yeah, there was for just the other day.
LA
I
County.
did see it.
Yeah.
Somebody posted it on the fan page.
Yeah.
And the Father's Day. Crazy.
That guy from LA was line of duty?
Salute.
It was
All
a
right,
bulldozer.
let me do the 5 bells for the guys. Line of duty.
Oh. He's got to work on that volume.
He needs a bigger bell. That's a squad bell. He needs a rescue bell.
No, that's a 17 engine bell, bro. Disbanded.
Oh.
Yeah, my dad was in 17 engine. I got the bell over there.
Yeah,
Yep. All right, boys. Again,
Thank you guys.
Joel, don't hang up.
Never.
Never.
Never. All right, Rookie, were you playing golf again tomorrow?
No, that's it for me, baby.
Oh, all right. Rest
Taking a
that
break.
back up. Rest the back up, buddy.
Yeah. That's tiring. I did some top golf yesterday, man. I'm like,
Boing.
Oh, God. What is
yeah,
that?
that's just all you do is drive the ball. You play games. It's kind of like a fun thing, but it's not that Louis caliber stuff.
All right. So we'll see you guys Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the big support tonight, man. The numbers were booming.
Yeah, we were.
Booming.
Some good
Until
likes
Thursday,
there.
you know what I'm going to say. Stay low and go.
Joe, good to see you, my brother. We'll see you at the big one, everybody.
Man.
All right, guys. I'm going to go with the hook up and look up tonight. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to do something. These guys, you know what? I'm advertising our stuff, and they make it.
What was
fun
the
of me.
thing
I
you
don't
were
get it.
saying? What was the
Oh,
thing you were
rolling
saying?
heavy. We were talking about rolling heavy.
You
I was
got
like,
to
go.
just rolling heavy. That's good.
You can't
Okay,
change it.
I'll see you on the top floor. You know.
No, you
rolling
can't
heavy.
change it. It's horrible.
All right, we'll talk about it. Anyway,
All right.
have a good night, everybody.